Chapter 16 to 16 Chapter 16 Thank you Prince for the reward _1. 16 Chapter 16 Thank you Prince for the reward _1. After leaving the main courtyard, Liu Chen was planning to visit the courtyard of the Zhou sisters when he spotted Mu Zixuan leading Wang Qingkai towards the back courtyard of the prince's mansion. Liu Chen was curious, why had Mu Zixuan brought this woman here? He furrowed his brow, fearing that Wang Qingkai, wanting to get close to him, had concocted some excuse to deceive Mu Zixuan. This wouldn't do. If this woman was here for himself, there would be no problem at all. But if Wang Qingkai hurt Mu Zixuan in the process, that would be troublesome, for Mu Zixuan was pregnant again. With this thought, Liu Chen hurriedly followed them. As Liu Chen entered the back courtyard, the maid Xiaorou was about to prepare tea. Liu Chen immediately stopped her and said, "Xiaorou, when you make the tea later, use these leaves." With that, Liu Chen handed the leaves he was holding to Xiaorou. Xiaorou didn't think much of it, after all, she was just a maid. "Yes, Prince." After handing the dragon phoenix tree leaves to Xiaorou, Liu Chen also entered the back courtyard. Upon seeing Liu Chen, Wang Qingkai's heart immediately filled with joy, finally having found a chance to get close to the North Prince. Of course, she had no intention of taking action against the North Prince just yet. This time, she got close to the North Prince mainly to make herself known, to leave an impression on him and deepen his memory of her. She wasn't certain whether the Grand Master mentioned in the rumors had left the North Prince's side. At this time, acting rashly could mean she might not be able to leave the North Prince mansion herself. At that moment, Wang Qingkai promptly rose from her stone seat and, with a bow, said, "This common girl pays respects to the prince." Mu Zixuan, seeing Liu Chen come here, asked curiously, "Prince, why didn't you go to see your sisters?" Although Liu Chen had already had his way with Xiao Xiao and Yu Yu, today was still the day of the wedding banquet, and he was supposed to go through the formalities. Yet, here he was. Liu Chen said with a smile, "No hurry, we'll talk about it tonight." Saying this, Liu Chen sized up Wang Qingkai before him, emanating an alluring fragrance from head to toe. She truly was a seductress. Liu Chen then asked, "Who are you?" Wang Qingkai immediately introduced herself, replying to the prince, "This one is the Warren from the 100 Flowers Tower." At this time, Mu Zixuan added, "Prince, after seeing the effects of the soap, Miss Wang intends to place an order for a batch of soap from us." Liu Chen said, "Oh, I see. You two continue, don't mind me." Saying this, Liu Chen walked over and sat down at the edge of the pavilion. At this moment, Xiaorou came into the courtyard with the brewed dragon and phoenix tea. Xiaorou poured a cup of dragon and phoenix tea for each of them. Wang Qingkai then continued speaking to Mu Zixuan, "Your Highness, our 100 Flowers Tower intends to order a large quantity of soap. May I know how long it will take for the prince's mansion to make it?" Wang Qingkai wasn't really paying attention to Mu Zixuan right now, but as it wasn't the time to be too presumptuous, she pretended to discuss business. Mu Zixuan asked, "How many do you need?" Wang Qingkai replied, 1,000 pieces. Mu Zixuan was somewhat surprised, this was the first time the prince's mansion had received such a large order. "That many?" Wang Qingkai grinned and then explained. "The ladies of the 100 Flowers Tower have many clothes that require washing every day, and to clean these clothes, the tower must purchase a large quantity of soap beans outside the city every day." Mu Zixuan thought about it and felt there was some sense to it. After all, in a place of pleasure, the dresses worn by those women of the evening had to be clean, so it was normal to consume a lot of soap. Could it be that in the future, the 100 Flowers Tower might also become a major client of the prince's mansion? It was when Mu Zixuan was happy about the first big order for the prince's mansion that she noticed Liu Chen's eyes sweeping over Wang Qingkai not far from the pavilion. Mu Zixuan immediately understood why Liu Chen was here, he had come for Wang Qingkai. But Mu Zixuan didn't think much of it, Liu Chen's fondness for beauty was well known. Wang Qingkai was the Warren of the 100 Flowers Tower, enchantingly beautiful, so it was normal for Liu Chen to be interested. At that moment, Wang Qingkai lifted the teacup on the table and took a sip. With that sip, Wang Qingkai suddenly felt a refreshing sensation surge in her heart and was momentarily stunned. She then asked, "Your Highness, where does the prince's mansion get its tea from?" Hearing this unexpected question, Mu Zixuan was a bit confused. She had not anticipated Wang Qingkai would suddenly steer the conversation toward tea. Curious, Mu Zixuan also picked up the teacup on the table and took a sip, and she immediately understood why Wang Qingkai had asked about the tea. Mu Zixuan turned to look at the maid beside her. "Xia Rou, what kind of tea did you brew? Why have I never tasted this kind of tea before?" Before Xia Rou could reply, Liu Chen, who was not far away, took the initiative to say, "My beloved concubine, do you remember that tree in my court?" Upon hearing Liu Chen's words, Mu Zixuan immediately remembered the tree Liu Chen had been tending to with care recently. She had always been curious as to why Liu Chen was so attentive to that tree. It turned out to be a special tea tree. At this time, Mu Zixuan asked, "Prince, could it be that the teapot holds leaves plucked from that tree?" Liu Chen nodded and said, "Yes." Having said this, Liu Chen's gaze fell upon Wang Qingkai and, smiling, he inquired, "Miss Wang, how do you like the tea?" Wang Qingkai replied, "It's fragrant and sweet, refreshing and invigorating. I've never tasted such miraculous tea before." Liu Chen said, "Since Miss Wang likes it, I will have someone pick some fresh tea leaves to take back with you." Wang Qingkai thought to herself that it seemed the North Prince was planning to use this tea to ingratiate himself with her, and judging by this pace, it wouldn't be long before the North Prince became a visitor to her bedchamber, and her mission would soon be accomplished. Thinking this, Wang Qingkai revealed a seductive smile and said, "I'm profoundly grateful for the prince's gracious gift." Then, Liu Chen said to Xia Rou, "Xia Rou, go and pick 2 liangs of fresh tea leaves from the tree I often water for Miss Wang to take back." "Yes, Prince." Afterwards, Xia Rou left the rear courtyard to go pick tea leaves from the formal garden. After that, Wang Qingkai and Mu Zixuan continued discussing the soap business. Once the delivery date was confirmed, Wang Qingkai left the prince's mansion with the freshly picked leaves of the dragon phoenix tree that Xia Rou had plucked. Seeing Liu Chen's eyes still fixed on Wang Qingkai's departing figure, Mu Zixuan sat beside him and said, "Prince, if you fancy Miss Wang, I could have someone purchase her from the 100 Flowers Tower to serve you. It's likely that Miss Wang is still a maiden." Mu Zixuan was quite open-minded about affairs concerning women and did not harbor thoughts of jealousy. Hearing this, Liu Chen was brought back to his senses. He wrapped his large hand around Mu Zixuan's waist, pulled her up forcefully and set her on his lap. Then, speaking softly into Mu Zixuan's ear, Liu Chen said, "My beloved concubine, you can't possibly think she's just an ordinary Warren, can you?" Liu Chen planned to reveal Wang Qingkai's true identity to her. After all, Wang Qingkai had ulterior motives regarding him. If she had too much contact with Mu Zixuan, it might be harmful to Mu Zixuan, so it was better to inform her of Wang Qingkai's real identity and have Mu Zixuan be more cautious around her. Chapter 17-17 Chapter 17 Grandmasters aren't that big of a deal _1. 17 Chapter 17 Grandmasters aren't that big of a deal _1. Upon hearing Liu Chen's words, Mu Zixuan slightly spaced out. In her eyes, Wang Qingkai was indeed nothing more than an ordinary Warren. Liu Chen continued, "She is a 9th grade martial artist, the saintess of the Misty Pavilion." Mu Zixuan's mind jolted, as she had no knowledge of what force Misty Pavilion represented. But for a 9th grade martial artist to end up at a place like the 100 Flowers Tower to become an Warren clearly indicated some sort of conspiracy. Now Mu Zixuan understood why Wang Qingkai suddenly sought to get close to her. It seemed that ordering soap was just a pretext, while the real intention was to get close to the prince. Mu Zixuan quickly said, "Your Highness, this servant has erred, not knowing her true identity and leading the wolf into the house. This servant is willing to accept punishment. Liu Chen lifted his hand and caressed Mu Zixuan's delicate nose, smiling as he said, "Those who don't know are not guilty, I don't blame you." Mu Zixuan then asked, "What does your highness plan to do with her and the 100 Flowers Tower next?" Liu Chen did not answer directly but instead looked at the teapot on the stone table and said, "My love, did you feel anything special after drinking the dragon and phoenix tea just now?" Mu Zixuan thought for a moment, "Special feelings? After drinking the dragon and phoenix tea, I felt very refreshed." Liu Chen continued to ask, "Anything else? For example, any agitation in your body?" As he spoke, Liu Chen's hands were rubbing Mu Zixuan's stomach, causing her face to instantly flush red as she immediately understood what Liu Chen was inquiring. "Just now, scenes of our wedding night suddenly came to my mind, and those images lingered incessantly." Liu Chen said, "That's the effect of the dragon and phoenix tea. The dragon and phoenix tea cultivated with my blood will make the woman who drinks it develop affection toward me." By now, Mu Zixuan's favorability towards him had already reached 95, so there was no need to conceal the tea's effect from her. Upon hearing Liu Chen's words, Mu Zixuan immediately reacted, saying that was why she suddenly had a strong desire to be close to Liu Chen. It was the influence of the dragon and phoenix tea. At this moment, Mu Zixuan recalled how, upon Wang Qingkai's departure, Liu Chen had given her 2 liang of dragon and phoenix tea. Mu Zixuan then asked, "Your Highness gives dragon and phoenix tea to Wang Qingkai, is it that you intend to win her over?" Liu Chen replied, "The Misty Pavilion sent me a 9th grade beauty of peerless elegance, how could I not accept her?" Mu Zixuan said, "This servant congratulates your Highness on soon winning over a 9th grade expert." Liu Chen merely smiled slightly, without saying much more. After spending some warm moments in the pavilion with Mu Zixuan, Liu Chen felt a bit restless and thus headed to the northern courtyard. At this time, Zhou Xiaoxiao and Zhou Yuya were quietly waiting in their room. Although they were already Liu Chen's women, they were still very much looking forward to his visit. Unlike marrying a principal wife, taking a concubine involved fewer formalities. After the banquet, they could proceed to the main affair. Liu Chen entered the room and found the 2 sisters sitting on the bed. He brewed a pot of dragon and phoenix tea and said to them, "Xiao Xiao, Yu Yu. Come here and try the tea I've brewed." Zhou Xiaoxiao and Zhou Yuyu didn't understand why Liu Chen wanted them to drink tea at such a time, but since Liu Chen was the prince, they just needed to obey. The 2 sisters approached the table, picked up the teacups, and took a sip of the dragon and phoenix tea. After drinking the tea, Zhou Xiaoxiao asked in surprise, "Your Highness, what kind of tea is this that smells so sweet?" Liu Chen wrapped an arm around Zhou Xiaoxiao's slender waist and smilingly answered, "This is dragon and phoenix tea, it will help us concentrate better later." The sisters' faces immediately turned bright red. However, at this moment, Liu Chen did not make any more advances. He suddenly remembered he still had a pill he hadn't taken. In his newbie gift pack was a dragon and tiger pill, also with a simple purpose, to enhance his battle power. He hadn't taken it yet because he hadn't needed it before. As a first-grade martial artist, his physical capabilities were multiple times better than those of ordinary people, and handling the 3 delicate women like Mu Zixuan posed no problem at all. But the pill would simply be left unused anyway, so I might as well use it now, given that its effects are permanent. With that thought, Liu Chen took out the dragon and tiger pill from the system space and popped it straight into his mouth. The taste of the dragon and tiger pill wasn't anything special, just like eating a sugar bean. After swallowing the dragon and tiger pill, Liu Chen didn't feel anything. Liu Chen was somewhat puzzled. Could it be the pill had expired? After all, it was from the newbie gift pack, an item from 2 months ago. Just as Liu Chen was thinking this, the fragrance from Zhou Xiaoxiao and her sister Yuyu wafted into his nose, and the next moment, Liu Chen suddenly felt a surge in his blood qi, and his body became exceptionally hot. Liu Chen frowned, realizing he might have underestimated this thing. Next, Liu Chen had no choice but to rely on the Zhou sisters to help alleviate the adverse condition in his body. Ding! Host has cultivated affection with his wives once, Qi refinement mantra experience points increased by 10, broken through to the first layer, host's realm has advanced to 4th grade. Ding! Host has cultivated affection with his wives once, rejuvenating skill experience points increased by 10, congratulations to the host for unlocking the rejuvenating skill. Congratulations to the host for impregnating Zhou Xiao, you have obtained the method to make perfume. The pregnancy reward is an encouragement award, please host try your best to ensure the child is safely born, the rewards for having offspring will be even richer. A series of system prompts made Liu Chen, who had just calmed down, very excited. At this time, he felt his body become lighter and his vitality even more abundant. If the Zhou sisters hadn't already fallen asleep, he would have liked to continue cultivating affection with them. Liu Chen then opened his system panel to check on his current status. Host, Liu Chen. Realm, 4th grade. Cultivation technique, Qi refinement mantra first layer, rejuvenating skill just unlocked. Divine skills, none. Weapons, Desert Eagle, Barret, Hand Grenade. Offspring, none. Seeing the words first layer after Qi refinement mantra, Liu Chen couldn't help but think that just by breaking through to the first layer of Qi refinement mantra, his realm had jumped directly from 1st grade to 4th grade. If he broke through to the 2nd layer of Qi refinement mantra, wouldn't he become a Grand Master? What if he broke through to the 10th layer? Would he become an immortal? As Liu Chen fantasized about becoming an immortal in the future, the system prompt sounded. Please host remain down to earth and avoid excessive fantasizing. This world does not allow the birth of immortals. Hearing the system's prompt, Liu Chen paused for a moment. But he didn't pay it much mind. It didn't matter if he couldn't become an immortal, as long as he could still use the Qi refinement mantra. Advancing his realm through the Qi refinement mantra was much faster than through training. After improving just one layer of Qi refinement mantra, his realm reached 4th grade. By the time he advanced to the 2nd layer, he would be close to Grand Master level even if he hadn't reached it. But then again, even becoming a Grand Master in this world would only make him more capable than most martial artists at best. The moment Liu Chen realized he could take down a 9th grade martial artist instantly with just his Desert Eagle, he suddenly felt that becoming a Grand Master didn't seem like such a big deal. After all, before guns, all lives are equal. His own strength was just an enhancement of his capability for self-preservation, nothing more. Chapter 18-18 Chapter 18, Liu Chen's attitude toward taking a concubine _1. 18 Chapter 18, Liu Chen's attitude toward taking a concubine _1. Great Xia Dynasty. Capital City, a certain tavern. At this moment, Liu Shiyun was standing with his back to a woman wearing a veil, his hands clasped behind his back, gazing at the distant pavilion. After a long while, Liu Shiyun finally spoke, so much time has passed, yet your misty pavilion has made no move. I really cannot understand, what use is it for me to support you? Hearing this, the woman behind Liu Shiyun hurriedly spoke, Your Highness, the Saintess has already made contact with the North Prince. As soon as she confirms that the mysterious Grand Master has left the North Prince mansion, she will take action immediately. This subordinate believes the Saintess will be able to complete the task soon. Liu Shiyun said coldly, Soon? I need a definite time. Hearing this, the woman fell silent and did not continue speaking. At this time, a man entered the room. Your Highness, Blood Moon Tower has agreed, but they demand a price 5 times higher than last time, however, they will send the Vice Tower Master. Hearing this, the anger in Liu Shiyun's heart slightly subsided. Originally, he had not planned to continue to seek out Blood Moon Tower, for they had bungled the last assassination attempt, and the Misty Pavilion, which he supported, also had people in North City. Initially, he intended to let the people from Misty Pavilion take action. But recently, the calls for the establishment of the Crown Prince within the court had grown louder and louder, giving Liu Shiyun a sense of urgency. He needed to gain the Chu family's support as soon as possible. Once he had the Chu family's support, it would be more or less the same as having the support of the southern aristocratic families, and the likelihood of him being established as the Crown Prince would greatly increase. Liu Shiyun had also sent people to make contact with the Chu family recently, but the Chu family seemed not very interested in him, which made Liu Shiyun feel that they had not yet given up on his useless imperial younger brother. In his view, the mysterious Grand Master by Liu Chen's side was sent by the Chu family, and since they had sent a Grand Master to protect Liu Chen, how could they possibly give up on him? Therefore, Liu Chen must be removed. At this time, Liu Shiyun asked, "How strong is the Vice Tower Master of Blood Moon Tower?" Liu Shiyun's subordinate immediately replied, "Your Highness, it is said that his strength has reached that of a half-step Grand Master." Liu Shiyun thought for a moment. Even if the Grand Master by Liu Chen's side was still there, the Vice Tower Master of Blood Moon Tower should be able to hold him off. Then the others from Blood Moon Tower would have a chance to take advantage of the situation to eliminate Liu Chen. Moreover, Misty Pavilion had also sent quite a few experts to North City. At most Liu Chen had one Grand Master by his side, plus a Chu Yukan. As for Li Feng, merely a 7th rank, not a threat at all. Liu Shiyun then said to the man in the room, "Go and tell Blood Moon Tower, if they want 5 times the price, then it's 5 times the price, but I must see the North Prince's head." "Yes, Your Highness." After the man's words fell, he left the room, leaving only the veiled woman inside. Liu Shiyun then said to the woman, "Write a letter to Wang Qingkai at once, and tell her to coordinate with the assassination attempt by Blood Moon Tower. If Blood Moon Tower can lead away the Grand Master from the North Prince Mansion, Misty Pavilion must act immediately." "Yes." After speaking, the woman also left the room. Liu Shiyun's hand rested on the windowsill, looking in the direction of the Imperial Palace, his fingers continuously tapping on the windowsill, and he mumbled to himself, "My dear brother, it's about time you stepped down." Capital City, Prince Liu Yi's mansion. Looking at the information in his hand, Prince Liu Yi revealed a trace of a smile. "Shiyun is really ruthless. Now that Chen has gone to North City, he still doesn't plan to let him off." At this moment, a retainer clad in a grey robe next to Liu Yi inquired, "Your Highness, what do you intend to do this time?" Liu Yi thought for a moment and replied, "I originally thought that by spreading rumors of a Grand Master protecting Chen, Shiyun would retreat knowing the difficulty, but it seems that tactic is useless now. Chen must not die. If he dies, how can I forge an alliance with the Chu family?" Liu Yi and Liu Shiyun had different maternal clan identities and thus had different stances, so the things they had to do were different as well. Liu Shiyun wanted to eliminate Liu Chen to leave the Chu family with no choice because his mother also came from an aristocratic family of the south. Without Liu Chen, that southern aristocratic family would have to fully support him. On the other hand, Liu Yi believed that Liu Chen was the grandson of Chu family master Chu Xiong. Even if the Chu family had truly abandoned Liu Chen, Chu Xiong still had personal feelings for Liu Chen. To eliminate Liu Chen would be tantamount to offending Chu Xiong. Even if the Chu family, due to the interests of the southern aristocratic family, were bound to support Liu Shiyun, the incident would still leave a thorn in Chu Xiong's heart. What Liu Yi needed to do was very simple. He had to show the Chu family his goodwill, thereby further driving a wedge between the Chu family and the other southern aristocratic families. Therefore, Liu Yi's stance leaned more towards protecting Liu Chen. Moreover, as he saw it, Liu Chen was nothing but an uneducated and useless prince, and such a prince posed no threat at all to his position as crown prince. In the future, once he ascended the throne, he could even support Liu Chen to become the new spokesperson for the southern aristocratic families. An uneducated and useless prince was far easier to control than those southern aristocratic families. At that moment, Lu Yi said to a retainer beside him, "Mo Dongping, later you should spread the news about the Vice Tower Master of Blood Moon Tower heading to North City." The Vice Tower Master of Blood Moon Tower heading to North City made even Lu Yi worry that this time Lu Chen might truly be in grave danger. In his heart, Lu Yi thought, "Chen, brother, this is as far as I can help you. From here on out, it's up to how tough your luck is." At this time, Lu Chen was still unaware of the events transpiring in the capital city. In the following period, he continued to stay in the North Prince Mansion, cultivating his relationship with Zhou Yuyu daily. Mu Zixuan and Zhou Xiaoxiao were both pregnant now, leaving only Yuyu to attend to Lu Chen, which was somewhat difficult for her to endure. Lu Chen was already a fourth-rank martial artist and had taken the dragon and tiger pill, so Yuyu, a frail woman, was no match for him. North Courtyard. Mu Zixuan and Zhou Xiaoxiao discussed this matter while walking toward the courtyard. According to the perfume blueprint provided by Lu Chen, they had already made some perfumes. The north courtyard was planted with many flowers, and they planned to use these flowers to try to create new perfumes. But just as they were about to enter the yard, they heard the faint sound of a woman's voice coming from a distant pavilion, sometimes subdued, sometimes sharp. Then, two young maids responsible for Yuyu's meals and daily life approached Mu Zixuan and the others, their faces blushing. "Greetings to the princess consort." Seeing the two maids' cheeks so red, they immediately understood what had happened. At that moment, Zhou Xiaoxiao ventured, "Sister, now that I'm pregnant, only Yuyu is left to serve the prince. And lately, the prince seems to increasingly enjoy that affair. Yuyu alone can't hold up. Could you ask him to see if he is willing to take a concubine?" Zhou Xiaoxiao knew well that she was simply a concubine to Lu Chen, so it wasn't appropriate for her to bring up the topic of taking a concubine. Only Mu Zixuan could raise the issue. She didn't know if Mu Zixuan was willing after all, for Mu Zixuan was the princess consort, the mistress of the North Prince Mansion. Hearing Zhou Xiaoxiao's suggestion, Mu Zixuan sighed, "Sister, about taking a concubine, I've actually already spoken to the prince. He said his stance on the matter is to prefer quality over quantity. He's not interested in ordinary women." Chapter 19-19 Chapter 19 It's time to take down Wang Qingkai_1. 19 Chapter 19 It's time to take down Wang Qingkai_1. Mu Zixuan was always very open-minded regarding Lu Chen taking concubines and didn't mind it at all. However, Lu Chen himself had very high standards when it came to taking concubines, something that left Mu Zixuan with no options. After hearing Mu Zixuan's words, Zhou Xiaoxiao whispered into Mu Zixuan's ear, "Sister, we have a woman in our prince's mansion who meets the prince's standards." Upon hearing this, Mu Zixuan paused for a moment before instantly realizing which woman Zhou Xiaoxiao was referring to. Mu Zixuan said indifferently, "Xiaoxiao, Madame Chu's matter is not something we can intervene in, it's up to the prince and Madame Chu's intentions." Almost everyone in the prince's mansion knew that Chu Yukin and Lu Chen had a complicated relationship. From the way Lu Chen looked at Chu Yukin, one could tell he wished he could devour her completely. However, Chu Yukin's status was quite special, and it wouldn't be an easy matter for Lu Chen to have his way with her. Chu Yukin was married once, and although her husband died shortly after the marriage, before they could consummate it, she was already considered part of that family, now a widow. If Chu Yukin had married into an ordinary household, it would be a different story. As the North Prince, Lu Chen had a certain status and could force the family to divorce her or annul the marriage. But Chu Yukin was married into the Wang family, a power just below the Chu family among the aristocratic families of the south, and the Wang family was also the maternal family of Prince Lu Shiyun. For Lu Chen to use his status as the North Prince to make the Wang family divorce Chu Yukin was nearly impossible. Of course, the biggest obstacle was Chu Yukin herself. People in the North Prince mansion could see that Chu Yukin merely viewed the North Prince as a child, as a junior of her own. Additionally, given her gentle nature, she was unlikely to accept Liu Chen's romantic affections. After hearing Mu Zixuan's words, Zhou Xiaoxiao pouted and said no more. At that moment, Mu Zixuan thought of Wang Qingkai from the 100 Flowers Tower. If Liu Chen could subdue Wang Qingkai soon, perhaps Zhou Yuyu wouldn't have to work so hard anymore. But this was also not something she could intervene in. With this thought, Mu Zixuan let out a soft sigh. A little while later, once the noise from the pavilion had mostly subsided, Mu Zixuan and Zhou Xiaoxiao proceeded to enter the yard. At this time, Zhou Yuyu was disheveled and weak, lying powerlessly in Liu Chen's arms. She had fallen in love with Liu Chen at first sight, so she was originally very happy to develop a relationship with him. But recently, without her sister and the Duchess to share the burden and with Liu Chen's inexplicable ferocity, Zhou Yuyu was finding it hard to cope. Seeing Mu Zixuan and others enter the yard, Liu Chen guessed they might have heard the sounds from earlier, but he didn't care at all. The prince's mansion was divided into an inner and an outer yard, and currently, the inner yard's several private quarters were staffed by female guards, with Mu Zixuan and Zhou Xiaoxiao being his concubines, so it didn't matter if they had heard. At that moment, Mu Zixuan took the initiative to say, "Prince, we have made the perfume according to the method you provided." As Mu Zixuan finished speaking, a maidservant by her side walked into the pavilion carrying a wooden box and placed it on the stone table there. Upon hearing this, Liu Chen then lifted Zhou Yuyu from his embrace and seated her on the bench inside the pavilion. Seeing this, Zhou Yuyu's maidservant hurried over to support her. Liu Chen approached the stone table, took a small porcelain bottle out of the wooden box, and then opened the stopper to take a sniff. The perfume's aroma was natural due to the production method, rich yet not overpowering. Liu Chen expressed his satisfaction, "My consort, Xiao Xiao, you have worked hard." Zhou Xiaoxiao then asked, "Prince, how do you plan to sell this perfume?" The perfume from the prince's mansion was much more practical than the common sachets and even lasted longer, one only needed to take out the bottle and drip a few drops when necessary. Liu Chen thought for a moment, then said, "Perfume isn't an essential product like soap, so let's sell it for a bit more, a couple of silver per bottle." Hearing this, Mu Zixuan and Zhou Xiaoxiao both paused in astonishment. However, they quickly came to understand that although Liu Chen's pricing was relatively high, as women, they were well aware that once the perfume was introduced, it would definitely attract the attention of countless young ladies. At that moment, Mu Zixuan asked curiously, "Prince, where did you learn how to make this perfume?" The perfume-making diagrams Liu Chen provided were very clear, with each step depicted, and they could be learned at a glance. When they were making the perfume, they didn't even have the servants do it, Mu Zixuan and Zhou Xiaoxiao had made the perfume themselves. Hearing Mu Zixuan's question, Liu Chen smiled slightly and shamelessly replied, "I researched it when I had nothing better to do." Upon hearing Liu Chen's response, the ladies were quite surprised. Everyone outside said the North Prince was all play and no learning, yet he had managed to create these two practical items. At that moment, something occurred to Mu Zixuan and she continued, "Prince, I'm thinking of inviting Miss Wang from the 100 Flowers Tower to the residence to discuss having the girls there try out the perfume ahead of time. What do you think?" Mu Zixuan thought that it was not good for Liu Chen to focus his attention solely on Zhou Yuyu all the time, since Liu Chen had long set his sights on Wang Qingkai. She might as well give Wang Qingkai more opportunities to appear before him. Moreover, having the Warren of the 100 Flowers Tower try out the perfume would also help to quickly establish the perfume's reputation. With the perfume, the men who visited the 100 Flowers Tower would surely go home with their bodies full of fragrance, a scent that would linger for a long time. In time, the female members of those men's households might try to find out where this fragrance on their bodies originated from. When Mu Zixuan mentioned Wang Qingkai, the image of that enchanting figure flashed through Liu Chen's mind. For a moment, Liu Chen felt his blood surging inside him. After taking the dragon and tiger pill, he had become increasingly unable to control himself. If he did not spend time cultivating his relationship with Zhou Yuyu each day, he would find it hard to sleep at night. Liu Chen was somewhat speechless. This was not sustainable. Lately both Mu Zixuan and Zhou Xiaoxiao had become pregnant, and with his current abilities, Zhou Yuyu's turn was probably not far off. If they all became pregnant, what was he supposed to do? If he had known, he would never have taken the dragon and tiger pill. It truly was a bane. At that time, the system's voice rang out. Host, please rest assured. You are unable to control the effects of the dragon and tiger pill now because your realm is not high enough. Once you break through to the 9th grade martial artist, you will be able to easily suppress your desires. The corner of Liu Chen's mouth twitched. 9th grade? His method of cultivation was to nurture relationships with his wives and concubines, but he feared he wouldn't reach 9th grade before Zhou Yuyu became pregnant. In this damned place of Yan County, there were so few women with a score of 90 points, when would he be able to break through to 9th grade? It seemed time to take down Wang Qingkai. Wang Qingkai herself was a 9th grade martial artist, with physical strength incomparable to ordinary frail women. After taking her down, his Qi refinement mantra should be able to quickly break through to the 2nd level. Chapter 20-20 Chapter 20 I want to have a private chat with you _1. 20 Chapter 20 I want to have a private chat with you _1. In matters of wanting children and improving his cultivation state, Liu Chen found himself somewhat helpless. His method of cultivation relied on cultivating affection with his wives and concubines, but the system told him that only after having offspring could he obtain even more generous rewards. But if all his wives and concubines were pregnant, who would he cultivate affection with? An attractive woman with a favorability score of 90 was not a common cabbage. She wasn't someone he could find whenever he wished. Without someone to cultivate affection with, how could his cultivation state improve? At this thought, Liu Chen became even more determined to win over Wang Qingkai. The higher the realm of a martial artist, the less likely they are to conceive, and he would use her for his cultivation in the future. Afterward, Liu Chen said to Mu Zixuan, "My love, be sure to notify me and Madame Chu before you invite Miss Wang over." Wang Qingkai was a 9th grade martial artist, and precautions were still necessary. Mu Zixuan replied, "Your concubine understands." At that moment, Liu Chen glanced at Zhou Yuyu, who was still resting on the pavilion bench, and said with a smile, "Yuyu, rest well, I will come to find you again tonight." Upon hearing these words, Zhou Yuyu was dumbstruck. "He's coming again tonight? Woo woo woo, please save the child." A few days later, 100 Flowers Tower. Wang Qingkai was reclining on a beauty's couch, her cloud attire loose and disheveled. At that moment, she muttered to herself, "It's such a pity to kill such a handsome man." Since returning from the prince's mansion, Wang Qingkai couldn't help but have Liu Chen's image involuntarily surface in her mind. She was unaware she had been affected by the dragon and phoenix tea. After all, Liu Chen was indeed handsome. Looking at the note in her hand, Wang Qingkai felt somewhat regretful. Soon, the Vice Tower Master of Blood Moon Tower was going to be in North City, and by that time, regardless of whether the North Prince Mansion's Grand Master was still there or not, the Misty Pavilion had to make a move to assassinate the North Prince. Every time she thought of that handsome figure, Wang Qingkai felt a twinge of reluctance. At this moment, Wang Qingkai's mouth curled slightly upwards, and she murmured, "Young prince, don't blame your sister for being cruel and ruthless. Blame it on your birth into the royal family." Just then, a maid entered the room and spoke from behind the curtain, "Tower Master, North Prince Mansion has sent someone inviting you over, saying there is an important matter to discuss." Hearing this, Wang Qingkai asked, "Is it the North Prince who's looking for me?" The maid replied, "It doesn't seem to be the North Prince who's looking for you, but rather the prince's wife." Wang Qingkai wondered, what could Mu Zixuan want with her? Could it be because of the soap matter? However, whether it was Mu Zixuan or the North Prince who was seeking her out, she was sure to go. With a legitimate reason to enter the North Prince mansion, why wouldn't she go? She could take the opportunity to investigate whether the mysterious Grand Master was still there and, incidentally, entice the North Prince. Thinking of the North Prince's handsome face, Wang Qingkai felt a stir within her. Wang Qingkai then rose from the beauty's couch and straightened her loose cloud attire. "I will go right away." With that, Wang Qingkai headed towards the North Prince mansion. As the servants of the North Prince mansion escorted Wang Qingkai into the back courtyard, Chu Yukin was on patrol and happened to see her. Instantly, her eyebrows furrowed, and she said, "Wait a moment." Wang Qingkai's heart tightened upon the sound of Chu Yukin's voice. Chu Yukin, a 9th grade martial artist, could easily detect that she was also a martial artist. If her own martial artist's status was exposed, it would likely arouse Chu Yukin's suspicion. To avoid exposure, Wang Qingkai immediately halted in her tracks. Chu Yukin came up to Wang Qingkai and asked, "Who are you? How come I have never seen you before?" Wang Qingkai proceeded to bow and replied, "Madam Chu, I am the Warren of the 100 Flowers Tower, and I have come to the prince's mansion at the invitation of the princess." Chu Yukin scrutinized Wang Qingkai, unable to help thinking that this woman was indeed enchantingly beautiful. Could it be that Zixuan was planning to have this woman serve Chen? Naturally, Chu Yukin was aware of the recent events in the inner court. Zhou Yuyu had been having difficulty walking these past few days, and if they did not take a concubine for Liu Chen soon, Zhou Yuyu might not be able to bear it. However, Chu Yukin looked at Wang Qingkai with some suspicion. She always felt that there was something extraordinary about this woman. She seemed to have felt inner strength emanating from her just now. But now, this woman seemed no different from ordinary people. After thinking it over, Chu Yukin eventually said, "All right, you may go in." Following that, the servants of the prince's mansion continued to lead Wang Qingkai toward the north courtyard. Upon entering the north courtyard, Wang Qingkai's gaze fell on Liu Chen, who was sitting inside the pavilion. For some reason, she now found herself unable to resist gazing at Liu Chen. Wang Qingkai entered the pavilion and immediately half knelt to greet them, saying, "I have seen the prince, princess." Liu Chen smiled and said, "Stand up." "Thank you, prince." Wang Qingkai then looked at Liu Chen and asked, "May I know why the prince has summoned me to the mansion?" Liu Chen replied, "It is not I who sought you out, but my beloved consort. You two discuss your business, I'll just sit here and not disturb you." Mu Zixuan immediately took out some small porcelain bottles from the wooden box on the stone table. "Miss Wang, could you come over here?" Seeing the small porcelain bottles on the stone table, Wang Qingkai curiously approached. At that moment, Mu Zixuan opened one of the porcelain bottles, and a scent of flowers instantly filled Wang Qingkai's delicate nose. Mu Zixuan then said, "Miss Wang, this is perfume made by our prince's mansion. The scent lasts a very long time, and we plan to have the ladies of the 100 Flowers Tower try it for a while to help us promote it." Hearing this, Wang Qingkai realized that there was indeed serious business involved, and she had thought that the North Prince had called upon her for a romantic encounter. Wang Qingkai then took the porcelain bottle from Mu Zixuan's hand, sniffed it, and found the fragrance strong but not overpowering, a natural scent. Wang Qingkai then asked, "Princess, may I inquire how long the scent of this perfume will last?" Mu Zixuan replied, "The scent of a single drop can last about 3 hours. Moreover, this perfume is unlike sachets. You can take it out and apply a drop on yourself at any time to keep the fragrance on your body all day, and just this one bottle can last a very long time." Upon hearing this, Wang Qingkai's eyes lit up. Although she had come for the North Prince, it was the perfume that attracted her more. She hadn't expected the North Prince mansion to have such wonderful things. Wang Qingkai then looked toward the other porcelain bottles in the wooden box. "Princess, may I smell the fragrances of the other bottles as well?" "Of course, All the perfumes in this wooden box are meant to be given to you for the 100 Flowers Tower to try out. Wang Qingkai immediately said, "Thank you for the generous gift, Princess." As her words fell, Wang Qingkai began opening the other bottles to sniff each one, finding every fragrance unique but natural, making one want to keep smelling them. At that moment, Liu Chen used the system to scan Wang Qingkai's personal information. Name, Wang Qingkai. Status, 9th grade martial artist, foster daughter of the Wang family in the south, Saintess of Misty Pavilion, temporary tower master of the 100 Flowers Tower. She came immediately after hearing the North Prince Mansion was looking for her. Recently, she can't help but have the North Prince's image constantly appearing in her mind. The thought that the Vice Tower Master of Blood Moon Tower will soon come to assassinate the North Prince makes her feel very regretful. Rating, 95. Favorability, 60, under the continuous influence of Dragon and Phoenix Tea. Liu Chen paused, he hadn't expected Blood Moon Tower would still dare to trouble him. However, now was not the time to consider that. Seeing that Wang Qingkai had a favorability of 60, the corners of his mouth curled up slightly. It was time to reap the rewards. With that thought, Liu Chen spoke to Wang Qingkai, who was trying the perfume. "Miss Wang, I've heard that the 100 Flowers Tower is the liveliest place in North City." Wang Qingkai quickly replied, "Prince, the 100 Flowers Tower may not be the liveliest in all of North City, but it is definitely the liveliest place in Yan County." Liu Chen continued, "With the 100 Flowers Tower being so lively, you must know a lot of things that others do not. I would like to have a private word with you later, to inquire about some matters concerning North City. Would you be willing to do that?" Chapter 21-21 Chapter 21 Wang Qingkai panicked _1. 21 Chapter 21 Wang Qingkai panicked _1. After hearing Liu Chen's words, Wang Qingkai was momentarily stunned, and her jade hand holding the perfume bottle paused mid-air. Didn't she come to the North Prince Mansion just to get close to the North Prince? She never would have thought that the North Prince would take the initiative to suggest that they have a private talk. This was truly a rare opportunity. If she could captivate the heart of the North Prince, wouldn't she be able to inquire about the whereabouts of the mysterious Grand Master in the North Prince Mansion? Not only that, but if she could captivate the North Prince's heart, once the people from Blood Moon Tower arrive, she could find a way to lure the North Prince away, making their task much easier to accomplish. Moreover, perhaps they wouldn't even need to wait for the people from Blood Moon Tower to arrive to complete their task. With this in mind, Wang Qingkai immediately said to Liu Chen, "Of course, it would be my honor." Liu Chen said with a smile, "In that case, let's change locations to talk." At this point, Liu Chen turned to Mu Zixuan and said, "My love, I'm planning to have a chat with Miss Wang alone. As for these trial perfumes, just have someone deliver them directly to 100 Flowers Tower." Mu Zixuan knew that Liu Chen was planning to win over Wang Qingkai, so she immediately said, "All right, Prince, I will have someone send these perfumes to 100 Flowers Tower later." At this moment, Liu Chen stood up from the bench in the pavilion and turned to walk outside the courtyard. "Miss Wang, please follow me. I'll take you to a quiet place." Upon hearing this, Wang Qingkai sneered inwardly. Truly a lecherous fellow. Although it was time alone, Wang Qingkai was not at all worried about Liu Chen doing anything to her. In her eyes, Liu Chen was nothing more than a useless prince. Apart from his attractive appearance, he had no real strength. As a 9th grade martial artist, how could she possibly be afraid of a useless prince? If Liu Chen were to try anything with her later, she could easily find various excuses to avoid it, just as she had done in the past with the men she had been tasked to assassinate. If Liu Chen insisted on using force, she could also use her charming skill to bewitch Liu Chen, plunging him into a sweet dream. When dealing with an ordinary person, Wang Qingkai had 100 methods, stemming from her confidence in her own abilities. As Wang Qingkai thought about how she would deal with Liu Chen momentarily, she followed him to the main courtyard. As soon as Liu Chen and Wang Qingkai entered the room, Mu Zixuan immediately summoned Chu Yukin. Chu Yukin was somewhat puzzled. What did Mu Zixuan want with her? Although Mu Zixuan had great faith in what Liu Chen said, she was still worried that something might go wrong, as Liu Chen and Wang Qingkai were alone together, and Wang Qingkai was a 9th grade martial artist. Seeing Mu Zixuan standing at the entrance of the main courtyard, Chu Yukin approached and asked, "Zixuan, is there something you need me for?" After spending some time together, Chu Yukin and Mu Zixuan had become very familiar with each other, and Chu Yukin hardly ever called her princess anymore, opting instead to call her by her name. At this time, Mu Zixuan said, "Madam Chu, the prince has taken Miss Wang into a room, and I'm concerned that something might happen, so I've asked for you to come and keep watch." Hearing this, Chu Yukin looked at Mu Zixuan with a puzzled expression. "Zixuan, are you talking about the Miss Wang you invited to the prince's mansion?" Mu Zixuan replied, "Yes." Chu Yukin was somewhat confused. She had initially thought that Mu Zixuan had summoned the Warren from 100 Flowers Tower to serve Liu Chen. But now Mu Zixuan was asking her to come here and watch. What did this mean? Could it be that Mu Zixuan was jealous? And wanted her to mediate? Chu Yukin then continued to ask, "Do you intend for me to have a word with Chen Er? To discourage him from associating with women of ill repute?" Upon hearing Chu Yukin's words, Mu Zixuan immediately realized the misunderstanding and hurriedly corrected her, "Madam Chu, you've got it all wrong. My point is, it's somewhat unsafe for the prince to be alone with someone else. Should anything happen later, you'll be there to intervene right away." Chu Yukin then understood that Mu Zixuan was worried about the Warren from 100 Flowers Tower posing a danger to Liu Chen. However, on reflection, Mu Zixuan's caution was warranted. She had felt something was off about the Warren from 100 Flowers Tower since the woman walked with a graceful lightness reminiscent of a high-level Qinggong expert. Letting Liu Chen have a private encounter with someone who might possess inner strength was indeed dangerous. Chu Yukin responded, "Got it. If there's anything unusual in the room, I'll go in immediately." Meanwhile, in the room, Liu Chen sat down at the table, brewed a pot of dragon and phoenix tea, and then said with a smile to Wang Qingkai, "Miss Wang, please have a seat." "Thank you, Prince." Wang Qingkai then slowly sat down, her buttocks somewhat sinking into the stool's cushion, revealing her body was quite supple. At this moment, Wang Qingkai asked with a hint of seduction, "Prince, what would you like to know about North City? I will hold nothing back and tell you everything." Liu Chen did not start touching her immediately, he seriously asked, "Miss Wang, do you know of any beautiful girls in North City? Especially those stunning beauties that can overthrow states and cities, and make the moon hide and flowers blush with shame." Hearing Liu Chen's question, Wang Qingkai inwardly despised him, thinking he was truly a lascivious man. Having just arrived in North City, he was already inquiring about beautiful women here. It wasn't surprising, considering this man had just taken 2 concubines not long ago, he was probably thinking about taking another now. Wang Qingkai then responded, "Prince, North City is unlike the capital city, finding a woman with the capability to overthrow states and cities with her beauty is not that easy. However, I have heard of a very beautiful woman residing among the grassland tribes." Hearing this, Liu Chen became interested at once. "Oh? Miss Wang is talking about the women of the barbarian tribe on the grasslands. How could a barbarian tribe have beautiful women?" Wang Qingkai said, "Prince, although most of the women on the grasslands are quite strong and do not fit the beauty standards of men in the Great Xia dynasty, there are quite a few beauties with lovely figures in the barbarian tribe's royal court. The beautiful woman I mentioned is among them." Liu Chen thought about it. The barbarian tribe's royal court is not somewhere he can access now, he should think of something more realistic. "Miss Wang, let's talk about the beautiful women I can meet right now. The barbarian tribe's royal court is not a place I can go to now." Wang Qingkai gave a charming smile and said seductively, "Prince, the stunning woman you can meet right now is right before you, isn't she? Hearing this, the corners of Liu Chen's mouth rose slightly. Wang Qingkai couldn't hold back anymore and was about to start seducing him. Since that was the case, he would no longer be polite. Today, his little Yu could take the day off. Liu Chen then placed a hand on Wang Qingkai's jade leg, smiled, and said, "Miss Wang is right. It is my fault for not considering the beauty before my eyes but thinking of finding beauties elsewhere." At that moment, the fragrance from Wang Qingkai's body wildly assaulted Liu Chen's nostrils, and his body immediately became restless. With his current realm, controlling his desires was not an easy task. Of course, Liu Chen did not plan on controlling himself today. Seeing Liu Chen starting to make his moves, Wang Qingkai knew the condition was ripe and now she could use her charming skill to deal with Liu Chen. A person seduced by the charming skill would let her manipulate them at will, and later on, she could also inquire about where the mysterious Grand Master from the prince's mansion went. Wang Qingkai then looked into Liu Chen's eyes, her gaze filled with implied desire, and said, "Prince, you're naughty. It's not proper to start touching someone as soon as you meet them." With that, Wang Qingkai fixed her gaze on Liu Chen's eyes and was ready to use her charming skill. But the next second, Wang Qingkai was struck dumb. The skill within her body had disappeared without a trace, and now she was no different from an ordinary woman. Wang Qingkai was stunned. How could this happen? To make a martial artist lose their skill completely, it would require a certain type of skill-dispersing drug. But ever since she entered the prince's mansion, she hadn't eaten anything. Even the tea brewed by North Prince that she just received in the room had gone untouched. Seeing the drastic change in Wang Qingkai's complexion, Liu Chen knew she must have realized the severity of her situation. However, unfortunately for her, it was all too late. Liu Chen then embraced Wang Qingkai's supple body and said, "Miss Wang, you truly are beautiful. I want you to become my woman." Hearing this, Wang Qingkai panicked immediately, hurriedly saying, "Prince, we've only just met, isn't it too fast? Why don't we take more time to understand each other?" Wang Qingkai realized that not only had she lost all her skill, but she also had no strength at all to push Liu Chen away as if she really had been drugged. As a martial artist, Wang Qingkai understood her current predicament well. If Liu Chen were to do anything to her now, she had no power to resist. Seeing Wang Qingkai flustered, Liu Chen lifted her chin with his hand, looked into her beautiful eyes, and said, "Miss Wang, once is happenstance, twice is familiarity. Since we need to understand each other, we should thoroughly familiarize ourselves with each other." With that, Liu Chen kissed Wang Qingkai's red lips. Wang Qingkai tried to struggle and push Liu Chen away, but to no effect, and she could only make muffled sounds. After a while, Liu Chen directly carried the alluring belle to his bed to start fostering their relationship. Chapter 22-22 Chapter 22 Madam Chu. Actually I have my difficulties _1. 22 Chapter 22 Madam Chu, actually I have my difficulties _1. Ding! Congratulations to the host for once again possessing a woman, you've obtained the poison immunity pill. The host and Wang Qingkai have nurtured a bond, as a result, Qi Refinement Mantra experience points increase by 20, Rejuvenating Skill experience points increase by 10. Although the system notification chimed in his ear, Liu Chen was now in no mood to pay any attention to it. He had completely lost his mind, and he realized why Wang Qingkai had a rating of 95, even though they were all above 90, this woman was the cream of the crop, making it impossible for him to control himself. At that moment, at the entrance of the main courtyard, Music Xuan was anxiously waiting, yet at that moment, they seemed to faintly hear sounds coming from the room. Hearing this sound, Music Xuan finally breathed a sigh of relief, it seemed like the prince had succeeded. Following this, there would be another 9th grade expert in Prince's mansion. Chu Yukin's face was somewhat flushed at this time. The princess consort was bringing her to eavesdrop by the wall, which gave her a strange feeling inside. Recently, in the quiet of the night, she would always think of Lu Chen's handsome face, followed by an endless feeling of emptiness and loneliness. Chu Yukin constantly reminded herself that Lu Chen was her sister's son, and it was not right for her to have such feelings for him, but by day, her gaze would invariably and involuntarily steal glances at Lu Chen. Every time she heard the mingled sounds of Lu Chen with other women, her restlessness grew harder to suppress, and to make things worse, the rascal Lu Chen liked to be unruly in the inner courtyard. If things continued like this, she feared she might really do something inappropriate. At that moment, Chu Yukin quickly exerted her skill to stabilize her mind and avoid overthinking. While exerting her skill, she continued to remind herself internally. Chener is Yu's son, I absolutely must not harbor improper thoughts. At this time, Mu Zixuan, who was next to her, saw Chu Yukin close her eyes and her face turn crimson, and she couldn't help but giggle behind her hand. After all, she was a woman, and moreover one who had never known the touch of a man. It would be rather abnormal if those sounds did not affect her. But this also showed that in her heart, Chu Yukin did harbor thoughts about the prince. It was only because of the status between them that she had been repressing her romantic feelings. It was at this moment that Mu Zixuan suddenly thought of something. It seemed that recently Chu Yukin had consistently been drinking dragon and phoenix tea. Others may not know the effects of the dragon and phoenix tea, and so would not understand what drinking it implied, but she knew because Lu Chen had told her. Thinking to herself, Mu Zixuan wondered if the prince was truly planning to make Chu Yukin his woman. Right now, he had managed to subdue Wang Qingkai, a 9th-grade martial artist, with the help of dragon and phoenix tea, and Chu Yukin was also drinking the dragon and phoenix tea. This meant that sooner or later, if Lu Chen insisted on making Chu Yukin his woman, she would be unable to resist. With this thought in mind, Mu Zixuan looked at Chu Yukin with a meaningful gaze. It looked like Chu Yukin would never be able to escape the clutches of their prince for the rest of her life. Painful times are very long, joyful times are very fleeting. But the length and brevity of time are all relative. For instance, Lu Chen felt that time was fleeting, while Wang Qingkai thought it agonizingly long. Wang Qingkai had tried every possible way to escape, but in the end, she would always be pulled back by Lu Chen. Her humiliation was beyond measure. A 9th-grade martial artist, she had actually fallen into the hands of an ordinary man today, and she did not even know how she had been ensnared. After an unknown number of hours had passed, Lu Chen held Wang Qingkai tightly by the waist and said with a laugh in her ear, "Qingkai, I never expected that you, Anwaran of the 100 Flowers Tower, would still be a virgin. It seems that I'm rather lucky." At that moment, Lu Chen's words were like the whispers of a demon. Wang Qingkai clenched her teeth, wanting to curse him out, but ultimately she held back. She had to find a way to leave the prince's mansion, to escape this place that had brought her so much humiliation. Once her skills had recovered, she would come back and kill the man who had taken her virginity. Wang Qingkai then spoke in a coquettish tone, "Prince, please let me go, I really can't take it anymore." Hearing Wang Qingkai's voice, Lu Chen felt even more agitated. Lu Chen said, "Qingkai, how about you stay in the prince's mansion from now on? I will buy you and you can serve me forever." These words made Wang Qingkai's face turn deathly pale. She quickly said, "My prince, I still have lots of things in the 100 Flowers Tower. If you truly wish to buy me, please let me return to the 100 Flowers Tower to retrieve my things for the prince's mansion." As Lu Chen caressed Wang Qingkai's jade back, he said, "Those things are not necessary. We can buy new ones. After all, the prince's mansion is not lacking silver." Wang Qingkai hurriedly searched for another excuse, "My prince, I grew up in the 100 Flowers Tower and I have very deep feelings for the sisters there. I find it hard to part from them. If you truly hold affection for me, could you perhaps give me some time to say goodbye to them?" Now, she could only play the emotional card to make Lu Chen let her go. Lu Chen said, "All right, I'll give you 1 month. How does that sound? In her heart, Wang Qingkai thought, 1 month? Perfect, the people from the Blood Moon Tower will be here soon. In 1 month, this guy's dead. She wanted to personally deal with him and vent the hatred in her heart. Although that's what she thought, Wang Qingkai's tone remained seductive. Thank you for your generosity, my prince. I will surely serve you well in the future. Looking at Wang Qingkai's fair body, Liu Chen couldn't help but deepen their connection once again. After what seemed like an eternity, Liu Chen finally let Wang Qingkai leave. As Wang Qingkai walked out of the prince's mansion, her body was still trembling uncontrollably. She was so feeble that she needed the maidservants of the mansion to support her as she walked. The moment Wang Qingkai turned her head for a last look at the plaque of the prince's mansion, her expression instantaneously turned icy cold, her eyes flickering with intense murderous intent. North Prince, just you wait, your day of reckoning is near. After inwardly swearing her resolve, Wang Qingkai turned around and went back to the 100 Flowers Tower. After Wang Qingkai had left, Liu Chen came out of the room, just in time to see Chu Yuqin and Mu Zixuan. At that moment, Mu Zixuan said, "Congratulations, my prince, for capturing the beauty's heart." Liu Chen moved close to Mu Zixuan, wrapping his arms around her, and then said tenderly, "All this I owe to your arrangements, my darling." Just then, Chu Yuqin interjected, "Chener, I've noticed you've been more frivolous lately, even bringing Anwaran into our home. If word gets out, what would the people of North City think of you? You are their prince, after all." Hearing Chu Yuqin's reprimand, Liu Chen sighed and said, "Madam Chu, actually, I have my reasons." Upon hearing that, Chu Yuqin was taken aback, then asked, "What reasons?" Although Chu Yuqin felt that Liu Chen was just making excuses for his lechery, she was not like most people. She usually would listen to Liu Chen's explanation. Liu Chen then said to Mu Zixuan, "Darling, you explain to Madam Chu about my reasons." Mu Zixuan was stunned. How would she know Liu Chen's reasons? Wasn't her husband simply fond of beautiful women? Nevertheless, Mu Zixuan quickly recovered and then said to Chu Yuqin, "Madam Chu, I will discuss the prince's affairs with you later. He truly has reasons." Hearing this, Chu Yuqin looked at Mu Zixuan with skepticism, now seriously doubting whether Liu Chen and Mu Zixuan were putting on an act together. After all, husband and wife are often in cahoots, but she had no evidence. Then Chu Yuqin chose not to say more. "I'm going to patrol. You two talk." Chapter 23-23 Chapter 23 Liu Chen's Dilemma _1 23 Chapter 23 Liu Chen's Dilemma _1 Watching Chu Yuqin's retreating figure, Mu Zixuan couldn't help but cover her mouth and laugh again. Liu Chen asked with a puzzled look, "My dear, what are you laughing at?" Mu Zixuan replied, "Prince, you didn't see Madame Chu's expression just now. When she was at the courtyard gate, her face was flushed, and she seemed to be in great distress." Liu Chen thought to himself that this must be the effect of the dragon and phoenix tea. At this moment, Mu Zixuan asked, "Prince, has Miss Wang truly completely submitted to you?" Liu Chen thought for a moment. When Wang Qingkai had left earlier, he had glanced at her favorability. Her favorability hadn't gone down despite his forceful approach. On the contrary, under the influence of the dragon and phoenix tea, her favorability had increased by 10, reaching 70. However, to say she had completely submitted was still premature. Liu Chen then said, "Not yet, but if she visits the prince's mansion a few more times, I believe she will soon not want to leave." Mu Zixuan said, "Then, I wish the prince an early conquest of Miss Wang." Liu Chen smiled slightly and said no more. After returning to the 100 Flowers Tower, Wang Qingkai immediately recalled in detail what she had done since entering the prince's mansion. After all, she was a 9th grade martial artist, but she had been drugged without noticing it. Thankfully, the North Prince did not know her identity but only lusted after her beauty. If the North Prince had wanted to kill her today, she would likely be dead by now. She would not allow such an incident to happen a second time. After pondering for a while, Wang Qingkai still couldn't think of where she might have been drugged. At that moment, Wang Qingkai suddenly thought of something. She immediately took a perfume bottle out of a wooden box on the table. The moment she might have been drugged was likely with the perfume from the prince's mansion. Wang Qingkai then opened a perfume bottle and sniffed it, but the perfume didn't cause her to lose her skill. Consecutively, Wang Qingkai opened all the perfume bottles and smelled each one, but her inner strength remained intact. She suddenly remembered that her skill had immediately returned after leaving the North Prince. Could the problem be with the North Prince himself? But the North Prince was just an ordinary man. How could he have such mysterious methods? The more Wang Qingkai thought about it, the more confused she became, and she was now very irritated. Originally, she planned to seduce the North Prince and then control him using her charm seduction skill, but not only did the seduction fail, she had gotten herself entangled with him instead. After being toyed with by that guy for so long, she even worried that she might become pregnant with his child. The thought made Wang Qingkai furious. Damn it! That lecherous North Prince, I swear I'll personally castrate him one day. Meanwhile, North Prince Mansion. Liu Chen didn't go to find Zhou Yuyu today, giving her a rare day to rest. After Chu Yukin had strolled around the inner court, she returned to the main courtyard, where Liu Chen was no longer there, only Mu Zixuan was still in the pavilion. Chu Yukin immediately came before Mu Zixuan. Zixuan, earlier Chener said his lechery was due to a bitter necessity. Can you tell me what that necessity is? This. Mu Zixuan was momentarily stunned. Anyone with clear eyes could tell that Liu Chen was just looking for an excuse, but she had not expected Chu Yukin to actually believe he had difficulties. What hardships could he have, if not simply being lecherous? Of course, as Liu Chen's wife, Mu Zixuan would definitely not speak of her darling in such terms. Mu Zixuan thought for a moment, then replied, Madam Chu, have you not noticed that the prince has changed a lot recently? Although he still enjoys the company of women, he is quite different from the North Prince who was rumored to be ignorant and incompetent. Upon hearing Mu Zixuan say this, Chu Yukin thought about it and realized that indeed was the case. Let alone the fact that Liu Chen possessed two mysterious weapons and had a tree that could enhance skill, just from his personal character, he had undergone a significant transformation. In the past, he had not cared at all about the affairs of the mansion, everything had been arranged by her, his aunt. But recently, Liu Chen had even come up with soap and perfume, thinking about increasing the income for the prince's mansion. Moreover, it seemed he had also been encouraging Li Feng to actively train the troops. Of course, the biggest change was the inner force fluctuation in him. He had now become a martial artist. Although she did not know where his skill had come from, he was indeed a martial artist. However, when it came down to it, what did all this have to do with his lecherous hardships? Chu Yukin continued to ask, Chener has indeed changed a lot recently, but what does this have to do with his so-called hardships? Mu Zixuan's mind raced, and then she sighed and said, Madam Chu, in my opinion, the prince is not ignorant nor does he truly fancy beauty. All that he has done, in fact, is to sully himself, to protect his life. Think about it, if he were a prince who was both literate and martial, could he have left the capital alive? Upon hearing Mu Zixuan's words, Chu Yukin's mind staggered, and she instantly connected all the past incidents. She had always thought that Liu Chen had been spoiled by her and believed that he would continue to indulge himself forever, but she had never considered that it might be an act. Now, thinking about it, if Liu Chen hadn't pretended to be incompetent, perhaps numerous forces would have made their move against him while he was still in the capital. The assassination attempt by Blood Moon Tower was a perfect example. Even though he was already regarded as an incompetent prince and had even been banished by the emperor to the cold lands of the north, there were still people who wouldn't let him be. If he had appeared to be even slightly smarter, wouldn't he have been seen as a greater threat in others' eyes, making the princes even more eager to kill him? Realizing she had misunderstood Liu Chen, Chu Yukin felt an immense self-reproach. All this time, it hadn't been that Liu Chen hadn't grown up, it was she who had never understood Liu Chen. Liu Chen's pretense of being ignorant must have put a great deal of pressure on him. As his aunt, she truly had not fulfilled her role well. She had even promised her own sister to take good care of Chen all his life, yet she was oblivious to so many of his inner struggles, mistaking him for an irresponsible lecher. Mu Zixuan, who had only been married to Liu Chen for a few months, was aware of the secrets in Liu Chen's heart, whereas she, who had been by Liu Chen's side for over a decade, was unaware of his hardships. At this moment, Chu Yukin said to Mu Zixuan with a downhearted tone, "Zixuan, you are right. It's me, his aunt, who has failed to comprehend the pressures he endures within. Now that you are the person closest to him, I hope you can help take good care of him and share some of his burdens." Mu Zixuan smiled and said, "Madam Chu, you shouldn't speak like this. In the prince's eyes, you are the person closest to him." Chu Yukin sighed and said, "What am I in being closest to him, when I don't even know his innermost thoughts?" Mu Zixuan quickly said, "Madam Chu, you mustn't think like that. To the prince, no woman is more important than you." Chu Yukin's face showed a bitter smile, and she did not continue the topic further. Chapter 24-24 Chapter 24, Inviting Wang Qingkai again _1. 24 Chapter 24, Inviting Wang Qingkai again _1. An hour had passed in the blink of an eye. Today marked the grand opening of the prince's perfumery in the prince's mansion. Thanks to the promotion by the girls at the 100 Flowers Tower over the past fortnight, the entire Yan County had come to know that the perfumes produced by the mansion were of exceptional quality. In the morning, as soon as the perfumery opened its doors, ladies and misses from the wealthy households of North City flooded in. In less than an hour, all the perfumes produced by the mansion over the past half-month sold out. Liu Chen hadn't gone to the perfumery, instead, he was at home studying the map of this world. As he had already decided to compete for that position, he could no longer afford to lie idle and ignore the books as he did before. At that moment, Mu Zixuan and Zhou Xiaoxiao returned, and seeing them back so soon, Liu Chen set down his map and asked, "My love, how did the perfume sell?" Mu Zixuan didn't answer directly but commented, "Prince, I think the perfumes are priced too low." Upon hearing this, Liu Chen paused, then asked, "Why do you think so?" Mu Zixuan responded, "The mansion produced less than 2,000 bottles of perfume in half a month, yet they were all sold out in less than an hour." Liu Chen expressed his astonishment, that quickly. Liu Chen was no fool, he had originally set the price at a couple of silver per bottle based on the economy of North City. After all, North City was impoverished, and there weren't many affluent families that could afford to buy perfume. And now Mu Zixuan was telling him that all the perfumes were snatched up in less than an hour? Then Zhou Xiaoxiao spoke up, "Prince, among those who came to buy perfumes were many people from other regions, especially the merchant caravans. They showed great interest in the perfumes, often buying by the dozen." Instantly, Liu Chen understood the reason. It seemed that the merchants had their eyes on the mansion's perfumes, which was why they sold so rapidly. It was highly probable that these merchants weren't buying perfumes for personal use, but rather to take to more affluent places and sell, like the capital city. Upon reflection, Liu Chen realized he couldn't limit his vision so narrowly. In the future, he would need a substantial amount of silver to support an army, and his trade activities certainly couldn't be confined to North City alone. With the pockets of North City's residents mostly empty, squeezing enough revenue out of them to maintain an army was practically an impractical idea. With this in mind, Liu Chen looked at Mu Zixuan and the other women before asking, "My love, if you were still in the capital city, still Miss Mu, unmarried, and you heard someone in the capital city selling this type of perfume, how much silver would you be willing to spend on a bottle?" After pondering for a moment, Mu Zixuan answered, "Prince, if it were me, I would be willing to pay up to 20 silver for a bottle of perfume." Mu Zixuan's status represented the daughters and wives of the wealthy families in the capital city. If Mu Zixuan was willing to spend 20 silver on a bottle of perfume, so too would the other ladies and wives. Then Liu Chen said, "I've decided to open another perfumery in the capital city and in Sufeng City. From now on, the price of the perfume will be set at 20 silver. Once perfume production increases, we can adjust the price according to the exquisiteness of the small ceramic bottles." Liu Chen thought to himself, although he couldn't return to the capital city, selling items from his shops there should pose no problem. After hearing what Liu Chen said, Mu Zixuan promptly mentioned, "Prince, I need to speak with my father about this matter." Liu Chen couldn't return to the capital city, and since the perfumes would surely become highly profitable commodities, others might covet them. Thus, to open a shop in the capital city, it was necessary to have someone there to look after it. Liu Chen naturally understood this and said with a smile, "Then I'll be troubling my love." At that point, Mu Zixuan continued, "Prince, if you want to open a perfumery in Sufeng City, you might need to speak with Madame Chu and ask her to inform the Chu family." Sufeng City was located in the south, a hub for the numerous aristocratic families of the area and the most commercially developed place in the Great Xia dynasty. Of course, that place could also be said to be the stomping ground of the southern aristocratic families. To open a perfumery in Sufeng City, one needs someone reliable to oversee it, and it must be somebody from an aristocratic family, as only they could hold the fort. Without an aristocratic family watching over, the shop might get robbed within days. Liu Chen said, "I will speak with Madame Chu about this in a moment." At this time, Chu Yukin was patrolling the outer courtyard and was not present, so Liu Chen was not in a hurry. These things take time, setting up a business is not something that can be done immediately. At this moment, Zhou Yuyu quietly tiptoed up behind Mu Zixuan and gently nudged her as if hinting at something. Mu Zixuan instantly understood and asked with a smile, "Prince, the perfume's current fame owes much to the publicity by 100 Flowers Tower. Should we invite Miss Wang to the prince's mansion to personally thank her?" Recently, for the past half-month, Liu Chen had been spending nearly every night in Zhou Yuyu's room, and Zhou Yuyu could no longer hold up. Mu Zixuan and the other two ladies also noticed that it seemed necessary for Liu Chen to cultivate his relationships with them daily. Mu Zixuan and Zhou Xiaoxiao would occasionally attend to Liu Chen, but since they had children, Liu Chen wouldn't let them overexert themselves. For him, the children were more important. Zhou Yuyu wanted Wang Qingkai from 100 Flowers Tower to come and share her burden, but such words were certainly not for a concubine like her to say, so she had Mu Zixuan speak with Liu Chen. Fortuitously, they could use thanking Wang Qingkai as an excuse to invite her to the prince's mansion as guests today. After hearing Mu Zixuan's suggestion, Liu Chen said, "That is possible, but you must invite her in your name." Half a month had passed, and the thought of Wang Qingkai's soft and boneless tender body made Liu Chen's heart stir with heat. He had no choice. He had not yet made a breakthrough to the 9th grade and could not suppress his desires. Mu Zixuan smiled coyly, "Your concubine understands." Then, Mu Zixuan turned to the maid Xia Rou and said, "Xia Rou, go invite Miss Wang to the prince's mansion. Tell her that I wish to personally thank her." "Yes, Your Highness." Subsequently, Xia Rou left for 100 Flowers Tower. It wasn't long before Wang Qingkai met Xia Rou. Upon hearing that the princess wanted to personally thank her, Wang Qingkai's eyebrows slightly furrowed. She had suffered a loss last time at the prince's mansion and was now wary of it. She still didn't understand how she was drugged, as she had been recalling the details of that day for the past half-month and still could find no trace of how the drug was administered. Mu Zixuan's invitation to the prince's mansion this time might be another provocation from that lecher. At the thought of Liu Chen, Wang Qingkai's delicate body involuntarily shivered. The demon from last time didn't leave her alone for several hours, treating her as nothing more than an object of amusement. Wang Qingkai hesitated for a moment. Should she visit the prince's mansion today, or wait a few more days, until reinforcements from Blood Moon Tower arrived? After contemplating for a while, Wang Qingkai decided to go to the prince's mansion for a look. Firstly, it was a summons from the prince's mansion, and as a nominal Warren, she found it difficult to refuse. Secondly, she was on her guard this time and confident she wouldn't be duped again. She planned to carry soft muscle powder with her. If she found herself alone with Liu Chen again, she would use it against him. This time, she didn't believe she would be played with again. Chapter 25-25 Chapter 25 The Effects of the Poison Immunity Pill _1 25 Chapter 25 The Effects of the Poison Immunity Pill _1 Under the guidance of a servant from the prince's mansion, Wang Qingkai once again arrived at the place where she had lost her virginity. Gazing at the plaque of the prince's mansion before her, the scenes from half a month ago echoed ceaselessly in her mind. Wang Qingkai struggled to keep her emotions in check, trying to appear calm. Soon, the servant from the prince's mansion led Wang Qingkai to the northern courtyard, and upon entering, Wang Qingkai only saw Liu Chen sitting in the pavilion. The princess consort was nowhere to be seen. Seeing this, Wang Qingkai immediately understood. Sure enough, this lecher had tricked her into coming here with a pretext. What a farce about the princess consort wanting to thank her! It was clearly him wanting to repeat his old tricks and play with her body again. Wang Qingkai sneered inwardly. This time was different from the last. The North Prince thinking of repeating his old trick would not be so easy. She then gripped the soft muscle powder in her hand, planning to catch Liu Chen off guard and use the powder on him, then employ the charm seduction skill. Daring to take away her purity, today she was determined to make the North Prince pay a steep price. With this thought, Wang Qingkai slowly approached the pavilion and then, bowing, she said, "This humble one greets the prince." Liu Chen nodded slightly and then said with a serious face, "Miss Wang, Zixuan mentioned she had something to discuss with you, but she just went to the perfumery, she probably won't be back for a while, please take a seat and wait a bit." Wang Qingkai replied, "As you wish, prince." Thereupon, Wang Qingkai approached the stone table and used her cloud attire to shield the teapot on the table, slipping the soft muscle powder into it. At that moment, Liu Chen gave Wang Qingkai a glance, seeing her personal information appear in his eyes. Name, Wang Qingkai. Status, 9th grade martial artist, adopted daughter of the Wang family from the south, Saintess of the Misty Pavilion, temporary tower master of 100 Flowers Tower. Upon hearing that the North Prince mansion was searching for her, she saw through the North Prince's ruse at a glance, yet she still chose to head to the North Prince mansion. Once there, she poured soft muscle powder into the teapot, planning to first drug the North Prince and then use the charming skill to seduce and ultimately take revenge on him. Rating, 95. Favorability, 75, affected by the continuous influence of Dragon and Phoenix Tea. Seeing Wang Qingkai's personal information, Liu Chen's mouth curved into a slight smile, thinking she planned to use soft muscle powder against him. Her wishful thinking wouldn't succeed. With this in mind, Liu Chen asked the system in his heart. "System, can the poison immunity pill withstand the soft muscle powder?" Of course it can, since the host has ingested the poison immunity pill, he has acquired the poison immunity body. All poisons in this world can be neutralized by the host's body. Hearing the system's reply, Liu Chen was reassured. If Wang Qingkai intended to use soft muscle powder on him, then he might as well turn the tables on her. Afterward, Liu Chen approached the stone table, pouring 2 cups of tea, placing one in front of Wang Qingkai and holding the other himself. "Miss Wang, you must be thirsty. Have some tea to moisten your throat." Wang Qingkai hastily said, "Thank you, Prince. But this humble one is not thirsty." She had just put soft muscle powder in that teapot, she dared not drink it, and even without the powder, she would not dare to drink tea from the prince's mansion. The memory of what happened last time was still vivid, and she had to be extremely cautious at the prince's mansion, not to be tricked again. Noticing that Wang Qingkai was not drinking, Liu Chen did not say much more and then lifted the teacup to his lips, drinking it all at once. Then he sat down on the stone bench next to Wang Qingkai, his eyes unwaveringly fixed on her. Qingkai, since you left last time, this prince has been thinking about you incessantly. Upon hearing this, Wang Qingkai's heartbeat inexplicably began to quicken. She knew that the North Prince was preparing to make his move on her. At this moment, Wang Qingkai felt extremely fortunate, thankful that she had put the soft muscle powder in the teapot beforehand, otherwise, there might be a repeat of the previous situation. Wang Qingkai then said, "This humble one thanks the prince for your concern." Liu Chen continued, "Qingkai, have you and your sisters from the 100 Flowers Tower said your goodbyes? I plan to find a time to buy you back." Wang Qingkai pretended to look pitiful as she said, "Prince, please give this servant a bit more time, I can't bear to leave them and haven't yet brought up this matter to them." Liu Chen was about to say something when he suddenly stopped himself, then he raised his hand to his head. "Ouch, that's odd, why is my head so dizzy?" Hearing this, Wang Qingkai's eyes lit up, the soft muscle powder was taking effect, and she could begin her act. Wang Qingkai quickly feigned panic, then immediately went over to support Liu Chen, right at the moment when her skirt swept over the table, knocking the teapot to the floor. "Prince, what's the matter with you? Please don't frighten this servant." "Prince, wait here, I will call someone over right now." At this time, except for the two of them, there was not a soul in the north courtyard, not even a maid. Of course, this was specifically arranged by Liu Chen. At this moment, Liu Chen shook his head and said, "Qingkai, I'm all right, help me to the room. I should be better after a bit of rest." Wang Qingkai then supported Liu Chen to a room in the north courtyard. If anyone else had been there, they would have definitely seen a smile on both Liu Chen's and Wang Qingkai's faces. Soon, Wang Qingkai helped Liu Chen into the room, and she even closed the door behind them. At this point, Wang Qingkai was completely unaware of the seriousness of the situation. She thought her plan was about to succeed and was already plotting how to deal with the North Prince to vent the hatred in her heart. After lying down on the bed, Liu Chen feigned weakness and said, "Qingkai, I'm fine, don't worry. My body has always been rather weak, and I often suffer from headaches and limb weakness." Wang Qingkai sneered inwardly. "Rather weak? Who was it that toyed with her body for hours last time? And that's called rather weak?" Wang Qingkai didn't intend to waste any more time. After all, she was in the North Prince mansion, and there was Chu Yukin to consider. She had to charm the North Prince as soon as possible and learn what he knew about the mysterious Grand Master of the North Prince mansion. Then, Wang Qingkai looked into Liu Chen's eyes and said, "Prince, look into my eyes." As her words fell, Wang Qingkai's face revealed a seductive smile, and she prepared to use the charm seduction skill. At that moment, Liu Chen grasped her hand and said with a smile, "Qingkai, you are truly beautiful." Wang Qingkai was stunned. She found that her skill had once again dissipated, vanishing instantaneously without a trace. How could this be? The North Prince hadn't done anything, had he? She had been so careful, and yet she still fell into a trap? Wang Qingkai glanced at Liu Chen lying on the bed and breathed a sigh of relief. Thankfully, she had administered the soft muscle powder to the North Prince in advance, he wouldn't be able to do anything to her. However, just as Wang Qingkai thought this, Liu Chen's strong hand pulled her firmly onto the bed, and he quickly flipped over, looking down at her from above. Wang Qingkai was stunned again. Hadn't the North Prince been affected by her soft muscle powder? How could he still have the strength? And just a moment ago, she had seen with her own eyes that the North Prince had ingested the soft muscle powder. Wang Qingkai felt her mind go blank. Just as she was about to say something, Liu Chen leaned in. Ding! Host has cultivated feelings with Wang Qingkai once, Qi refinement mantra experience increased by 20, rejuvenating skill experience increased by 10. Chapter 26 to 26 Chapter 26 Showdown _1 26 Chapter 26 Showdown _1 Wang Qingkai knew she was done for. During her first time cultivating a relationship with the North Prince, all she felt was pain, her mind constantly thinking about how to take revenge on him, how to kill him. Yet, just a short half-month later, when she was once again cultivating a relationship with the North Prince, she forgot all her pain and completely lost herself in confusion and infatuation. Several hours later, Chu Yukin was patrolling the north courtyard when she heard noises coming from a room, and she paused, stunned. She had clearly seen Mu Zixuan and the 3 other women in the east courtyard when she was there on patrol, so why were there such sounds in the north courtyard? Could it be that a man had sneaked into the north courtyard and was having an illicit affair with one of the maids? This would not do. Chu Yukin then approached the room from where the sounds emanated, poked a hole in the paper door, and peeked inside. Upon looking, Chu Yukin was taken aback. She quickly closed her eyes, blushed, turned her head, and hurriedly walked away, muttering, "This little rascal brings a woman back and doesn't even tell me." She had thought that a man from the outer courtyard had come in for a secret affair with a maid from the inner courtyard, but it turned out to be Liu Chen himself up to no good. After witnessing that scene, Chu Yukin felt even more restless and agitated. Chu Yukin quickly circulated her cultivation technique to steady her mind and kept reminding herself not to have improper thoughts. At sunset, the sun gradually slanted westward, and the sky was filled with fiery red twilight. Mu Zixuan and the 2 sisters from the Zhou family were chatting and laughing as they arrived at the north courtyard, obviously aware of what had happened there. At that moment, in a room in the north courtyard, Wang Qingkai was lying in Liu Chen's arms, motionless. The fiery glow of twilight shone into the room, casting Wang Qingkai's fair skin in a bronze hue. By this time, Wang Qingkai had completely sobered up. She knew she had been deceived. No, it should be said that everyone had been duped. The entire Great Xia dynasty had been fooled. The North Prince, the man who had taken her virginity, definitely could not be a good-for-nothing. After her virginity was taken by the North Prince the last time, she was overwhelmed with extreme anger, so she never considered the possibility that the North Prince was not a good-for-nothing. But now when she thought about it, there were doubts everywhere. First of all, the North Prince being able to toy with her for hours was an impossible feat for an ordinary person, who wouldn't have such physical stamina, especially when there were rumors that the North Prince had long been sapped of his strength by wine and women. Furthermore, the North Prince was also able to silently seal the skill in her body, which likewise proved his extraordinariness. Additionally, today, after the North Prince drank soft muscle powder, he was completely fine. Could that be an ordinary person? Could that be the useless prince people spoke of? What a joke! If someone who could drink soft muscle powder and be unaffected is considered useless, then there probably wouldn't be many useful people in the world. As for the North Prince claiming he felt a headache and weakness after drinking soft muscle powder, it was now clear that he was pretending with the goal of having her help him into the room, making it easier for him to carry out his actions. The more Wang Qingkai thought about it, the more she regretted it deeply, feeling so foolish for actually believing the North Prince was affected by the soft muscle powder. But it was no use regretting now, what happened had already happened. At that moment, Wang Qingkai whispered, "Prince, you knew my identity all along, didn't you?" At this stage, there was no need to keep up the pretense, it was time to lay the cards on the table. Liu Chen was clearly aware that she was a 9th-grade martial artist since he could instantly seal her skill, and the fact he was resistant to the soft muscle powder indicated he knew what it was. There was no point in pretending any longer. Upon hearing Wang Qingkai's words, Liu Chen, stroking her smooth jade back, smiled and said, "What identity? Qingkai, what are you talking about? I don't understand." Wang Qingkai continued, Prince, there's no need for you to pretend any longer. The ability to instantly seal the skill within my body isn't something ordinary people can do, and it's impossible that you're unaware of my identity. So tell me, how do you intend to deal with me? Now that I've fallen into your hands, you can kill or slash me as you please. Hearing this, Liu Chen flipped over, propping his hands on either side of her head, looking down at her from above. Why would I kill you? My Prince Shiyun has been so good to me, gifting me with a 9th grade beauty. If I were to kill you just like that, wouldn't I come across as inhumane? At Liu Chen's words, Wang Qingkai's heart skipped a beat. Indeed, the North Prince must have long known she was sent by Prince Shiyun. Wang Qingkai then chuckled lightly and said, Everyone says the North Prince is useless, even the Emperor sent you to North City because he was disappointed in you, yet you never defended yourself and even promptly came to North City. The North Prince has hidden his true self so deeply, there must be a greater scheme at work. Now that I know you've been feigning all this time, are you certain you won't kill to silence a witness? Wang Qingkai's beautiful eyes stared straight at Liu Chen, not believing she would be able to survive. After all, she was already powerless before the North Prince, and he could not possibly be an ordinary man. Perhaps the mysterious Grand Master that people spoke of was the North Prince himself. At that moment, Liu Chen raised his hand, caressing Wang Qingkai's charming cheeks, then said indifferently, Had it been someone else, they might well have killed you. But I am not like them. Not only will I not kill you, but I also intend to make you my slave, my cherished pet, to bear children and carry on my lineage. Upon hearing Liu Chen's words, Wang Qingkai became dumbfounded. However, she then let out a cold laugh. Liu Chen, puzzled, asked, What, do you find my words amusing? Wang Qingkai responded, Indeed, they're laughable. Do you actually think I would willingly serve you by your side with all my heart? Even if you have sealed my skill, I could still take my own life when I'm alone. Liu Chen said with a smile, Take your own life? I'm curious as to what reason you'd have for suicide. Wang Qingkai replied, The prince wishes to keep me in the prince's mansion as a tool for gratification, yet you ask me why I would take my own life? Do you think I would endure such humiliation just to stay alive? Liu Chen spoke indifferently. I never said I would keep you confined to the prince's mansion forever. I will release you shortly. Wang Qingkai's mind went blank for a moment. What did she just hear? The North Prince was going to release her? How could that be possible? They had already laid their cards on the table. If he let her go, wouldn't that be like releasing a tiger back to the mountains? The North Prince had managed to pretend to be incapacitated for so many years, proving he was a very calculating man. Was he daring enough to take such a risk? Or did the North Prince have the confidence that he could keep her from leaving Yan County? Seeing the astonishment on Wang Qingkai's face, Liu Chen then asked, What, do you find it strange? Collecting herself, Wang Qingkai then inquired, Aren't you afraid that once I leave the North Prince mansion, I will spread the word that you are not a disabled man? Liu Chen replied indifferently, Firstly, no one would believe your words. Secondly, I believe you won't spread my secrets. After 2 instances of cultivating a relationship, Wang Qingkai's favorability had risen to 90, especially after today's interaction, which could be said to have completely conquered her. Once favorability surpasses 80, there is no possibility of betrayal, not to mention her favorability is now at 90. Chapter 27, Chapter 27, Chapter 27 Wang Qingkai's Choice R. Chapter 27, Chapter 27 Wang Qingkai's Choice R. Hearing Liu Chen's words, Wang Qingkai fell silent. Indeed, even if she went out and told everyone that the North Prince wasn't useless, it was unlikely that anyone would believe her. After all, the image of the North Prince as a good-for-nothing had deeply rooted itself in people's hearts, compounded by the fact that since he arrived in North City, he had done nothing of significance and spent every day seeking pleasure in the North Prince mansion. Now there were constant rumors in North City saying that the North Prince kept many beautiful maidservants in his mansion and mixed with these maidservants all day long, indulging in hedonistic pleasures. However, Wang Qingkai was somewhat puzzled. Why did the North Prince think she would definitely not speak out? Did he trust her so much? Didn't he know that after he had committed such an outrage against her, she had been thinking of revenge all along? Just then, Liu Chen let go of Wang Qingkai's delicate body, rose from the bed, and as he dressed himself, said, "All right, you can go back now." Hearing this, Wang Qingkai looked at Liu Chen somewhat incredulously. "You really intend to let me go?" she asked. Liu Chen gave a slight smile, then said, "Do you think this prince is someone who likes to joke around?" Wang Qingkai didn't continue the conversation, and she too began to get dressed. After a while, Wang Qingkai carefully stepped out of the prince's mansion. Standing at the gate of the mansion, she still somewhat couldn't believe it. She turned her head to look at the plaque of the mansion, her heart a mix of emotions. She had just left like this? Had the North Prince really not laid a hand on her? Wang Qingkai quickly checked her own skill, and indeed, her skill had returned. If the North Prince had not intended to let her go, he wouldn't have removed the seal on her internal skill, especially since she was a 9th grade martial artist, and capturing a 9th grade martial artist was no easy task. Afterward, Wang Qingkai turned her head, her heart filled with trepidation, and quickly made her way back to 100 Flowers Tower. All the way, she paid close attention to her surroundings, afraid that the North Prince would attack her en route. However, she made it back to 100 Flowers Tower without anyone laying a hand on her, or even following her. Back at 100 Flowers Tower, Wang Qingkai stood on a pavilion, looking towards the North Prince mansion and couldn't help thinking that it seemed the North Prince was serious. She hadn't expected the North Prince to have such great boldness. Wang Qingkai sighed. The more magnanimous the North Prince acted, the more it proved his strength was formidable. The fact that the North Prince wasn't afraid of her disclosing his affairs showed that he no longer feared the consequences his exposed power might bring, and it also indirectly indicated the North Prince might already be fully fledged. Wang Qingkai's emotions were complex. What should she do now? Could it be that she should truly betray Misty Pavilion, betray the Wang family, betray Prince Liu Shiyun? Sitting on the pavilion, Wang Qingkai quietly gazed into the distance, the breeze upon her face, when the figure of Liu Chen once again emerged in her mind. Immediately after, the scenes of what had just occurred replayed in her mind, and for a moment, her body became incredibly hot and restless. Wang Qingkai sighed. She had already found out that she seemed to have become addicted to the feelings she experienced when cultivating a relationship with the North Prince. Although there had only been 2 instances, the sensations this time had engraved themselves deep in her heart. She found it difficult to imagine how she would calm her restless body should the North Prince die one day. She didn't know how the North Prince had managed it, but none of that mattered anymore. What was important was that she could no longer be without the North Prince. And after thinking it over, even if she cooperated with Blood Moon Tower to kill the North Prince, she would still be nothing more than a tool in Prince Liu Shiyun's eyes. After all, she was just an assassin raised by the Wang family, without a notable identity, so whether she was by Prince Liu Shiyun's side or the North Prince's side, there actually wasn't much difference. Moreover, considering the North Prince had somehow made it so that her body couldn't be without him, becoming the North Prince's woman was indeed her best choice. Wang Qingkai then looked toward the direction of North Prince Mansion and said softly, "Prince, you have won." As her words fell, the pressure on her seemed to dissipate instantly. She also understood why the North Prince was so confident in letting her go. She couldn't help feeling that the North Prince was a terrifying man. Fortunately, she was a woman, for if she were a man, she likely would have been dead already. Just at that moment, an old woman appeared in the pavilion. "Saintess, Blood Moon Tower sent a message, asking us to find out as soon as possible whether the mysterious Grand Master is still in North Prince Mansion. They will arrive in Yan County in 5 days. Wang Qingkai said expressionlessly, No. I'll go to North Prince Mansion myself tonight and test them out. In the still of the night, a black figure appeared at the entrance of North Prince Mansion. The black figure easily bypassed the prince's mansion's trusted aides and swiftly entered the inner courtyard. The outer courtyard of the prince's mansion didn't have too many skilled martial artists, so it wasn't surprising that someone could sneak in, but the inner courtyard wasn't somewhere just anyone could enter. As soon as the black figure reached the inner courtyard, before she could even enter, she was blocked by a woman dressed in white. Chu Yukin looked at the person in black and said coldly, "Not anyone can just enter the prince's mansion." As her words fell, Chu Yukin thrust her sword toward the woman in black. The figure in black dodged easily, avoiding Chu Yukin's thrust. Chu Yukin's brow furrowed, and a sense of unease quickly took hold in her heart. A 9th grade martial artist? It appears she's here to assassinate Chen. Just as Chu Yukin got ready to continue her assault, the woman spoke up, "Madam Chu, I have urgent matters to discuss with the prince, please allow me to pass." Hearing this, Chu Yukin scoffed and said, "Urgent matters to discuss? I'm afraid you're here to assassinate him." Madam Chu did not recall when Liu Chen ever mingled with any 9th grade martial artists other than herself, and even though the woman's voice sounded familiar, Madam Chu still couldn't let her guard down and had to treat her as a female assassin. Madam Chu then swept her sword towards the woman in black again. But the woman in black didn't seem to have any intention of engaging directly with Chu Yukin, continuously dodging instead. Before long, Liu Chen in the main courtyard heard the commotion outside, and he immediately came out. Liu Chen had a system that could quickly identify a person's identity, even if they were dressed in black and veiled. Seeing that the woman in black was Wang Qingkai, the corners of Liu Chen's mouth lifted slightly, and he then said to Chu Yukin, "Madam Chu, she's one of mine. Let her in." At Liu Chen's words, Chu Yukin was stunned. She didn't understand when Liu Chen had acquired a 9th grade martial artist as a subordinate, let alone a woman. She certainly hadn't heard or seen any other 9th grade martial artists around Liu Chen before. But soon, Chu Yukin let go of her concern, as there were too many things about Liu Chen she did not know. Madam Chu then stepped aside, but still threatened Wang Qingkai, "If you dare do anything against the North Prince, then you won't be able to leave North Prince Mansion." Wang Qingkai ignored Madam Chu's threat and went straight into Liu Chen's room. Once inside the room, Wang Qingkai removed her veil. At that moment, Liu Chen took a glance at Wang Qingkai's entire body. Dressed in tight-fitting black clothes, her curvaceous figure was perfectly accentuated, giving her an extraordinary allure. Liu Chen asked with a smile, "Having left the prince's mansion less than 4 hours ago, you come to find me again. Could it be that you wish to engage in marital affairs with this prince again?" Wang Qingkai smiled seductively and said, "The prince just 1 am not as capable as you, my lord. I came to tell the prince that Blood Moon Tower's assassins will arrive in Yan County in 5 days, and this time, to kill you, they have dispatched 5 9th grade martial artists, and even the Vice Tower Master has been mobilized." Chapter 28, Chapter 28, Chapter 28 It's actually UI. Chapter 28, Chapter 28 It's actually UI. Hearing Wang Qingkai's words, Liu Chen's face did not show a hint of unease. He had already extracted the information about Blood Moon Tower sending people to assassinate him from Wang Qingkai's personal profile. However, he had not expected Blood Moon Tower to actually dispatch so many 9th grade martial artists to kill him. Aren't 9th grade martial artists supposed to be rare in this world? How come they are now aplenty, deploying 5 of them just to assassinate a worthless prince like himself? Is that really okay? If he didn't have the system, he probably would have been doomed. Seeing that Liu Chen's face bore no worry, Wang Qingkai thought to herself that indeed, the North Prince had grown powerful and was not the least afraid of the assassins from Blood Moon Tower. At that moment, Liu Chen came up behind Wang Qingkai, then slid his hands under her arms to embrace her slim waist and whispered in her ear with a smile, it seems you've made your choice. But aren't you afraid he will send someone to kill you for betraying my eighth brother like this? Wang Qingkai spoke seductively, isn't all of this caused by the prince himself? I am now your woman and can't leave you, I have no choice. What else could one do? I only hope that in the future, the prince will cherish me and not treat me as a mere tool to be discarded after use. Liu Chen replied with a smile, of course. As he spoke, Liu Chen rested his head on Wang Qingkai's fragrant shoulder, breathing in the scent of her body. Liu Chen was calculating in his mind that in a few days the people from Blood Moon Tower would arrive. Although he had the Desert Eagle and modern firearms like Batrilay, if there were too many opponents, and someone was holding him back, he feared he wouldn't even be able to draw his weapon before finding himself in danger. Therefore, he absolutely needed to enhance his own strength. It would be best if he could break through to the rank of 9th grade martial artist within these few days, as every aspect of his physical ability would be substantially improved. Even if the assassins from Blood Moon Tower were very fast, with the 9th grade strength aiding him, the Desert Eagle and Batrilay would still make killing them as easy as slaughtering chickens. However, as useful as weapons are, one still needs to be alive to use them. If, for example, someone suddenly launched a surprise attack and his sensory abilities were not up to par, even the capability to kill with a single shot could result in him being taken out by the enemy beforehand. At this point, Liu Chen asked the system in his mind, "System, how much experience is still needed to upgrade the Qi refinement mantra to the 2nd level?" The system's voice immediately sounded in Liu Chen's mind. "You need another 100 experience points." Upon hearing this, Liu Chen felt elated. He needed only 100 more experience points to upgrade to the 2nd level? That fast? Liu Chen then inquired, after upgrading the Qi refinement mantra to the 2nd level, can my realm break through to 7th grade? Liu Chen's question was a bit conservative. Originally, he thought that if the Qi refinement mantra broke through to the 2nd level, his strength could probably make it to the 9th grade. Just then, the system's voice emerged. After upgrading the Qi refinement mantra to the 2nd level, the host's realm will advance to 9th grade. Liu Chen was somewhat excited. Just as he had imagined, it truly would advance to 9th grade. However, on second thought, the Qi refinement mantra was only a cultivation technique for refining Qi, mainly increasing his skill without actual lethal power. He would still need to find an external cultivation technique with lethal power in the future. At this moment, Wang Qingkai, wrapped in Liu Chen's embrace, felt something unusual in his body. Wang Qingkai's fair complexion instantly turned rosy, followed by a blush spreading from her face to her collarbone and neck. Liu Chen then whispered in Wang Qingkai's ear, "From now on, you are my female slave. As a female slave, do you know what you should do for your master?" Upon hearing this question, Wang Qingkai was slightly taken aback. She had just been toyed by this man all afternoon and hadn't expected him to have the energy for more at night. How could the North Prince possess such formidable stamina? Wang Qingkai was somewhat astonished. She had spent a long time in 100 Flowers Tower but never heard of a man with the ferocity of the North Prince. Wang Qingkai then said, "Prince, your servant has only come to deliver a message, and now that the message has been delivered, your servant shall take her leave." As she spoke, Wang Qingkai half-turned, intending to push past Liu Chen and leave, only to discover that her skill had vanished once again. She instantly felt utterly powerless and was unable to push Liu Chen away. Liu Chen immediately wrapped his arms around Wang Qingkai and walked towards the bed. He needed to seize the time to gain experience points from the Qi refinement mantra, so he couldn't let Wang Qingkai just run off like that. Wang Qingkai finally sighed, feeling somewhat bewildered. After becoming the North Prince's female slave, she had no idea what the future would hold. With uncertainty about the future, Wang Qingkai soon immersed herself in the pleasure that Liu Chen brought her. Meanwhile, outside the courtyard, Chu Yukin had seen the woman in black enter Liu Chen's room and had been guarding the courtyard entrance ever since. If anything happened inside the room, she would rush in. She still didn't trust that woman in black. After all, she was a 9th grade martial artist. To think that the woman in black had approached the North Prince with no other motive, Chu Yukin found that hard to believe. But just then, Chu Yukin heard the sound of a woman's cheerful voice coming from the room. Chu Yukin's mind went blank. That 9th grade martial artist is actually Chener's woman. 9th grade martial artists were rather rare in this world, and female 9th graders were even rarer. Being a 9th grade martial artist herself, the woman in black was willing to become the woman of a prince, who was nominally a useless royalty, which Chu Yukin found utterly unbelievable. Chu Yukin was somewhat curious why this woman would choose Liu Chen. The next morning, Wang Qingkai limped out of Liu Chen's room, and as she did so, she ran into Chu Yukin, who was still at the entrance of the courtyard. Seeing that the one coming out of the room was Wang Qingkai, Chu Yukin's face darkened as she said indifferently, "It's you. A 9th grade martial artist, running to the 100 Flowers Tower to become an Warren, and then approaching the North Prince if there wasn't a scheme behind it, who would believe that?" As a servant by the side of Liu Chen's mother, having seen all kinds of plots and schemes, Chu Yukin believed that Wang Qingkai definitely harbored some designs on Liu Chen. Seeing Chu Yukin still there, Wang Qingkai was also stunned for a moment. In the end, Chu Yukin refrained from using force, as Liu Chen had already declared that Wang Qingkai was his. However, Chu Yukin still gave a cold warning, "Although I don't know who you are, I must remind you that if I find you have any designs on Chener, wishing to use him for your unspeakable goals, not only you, but also the force behind you will pay the price." Hearing these words, Wang Qingkai smiled faintly and then said, "Madam Chu, how come I feel that you harbor a great hostility towards me? Could it be that Madam Chu has become jealous after listening at the wall all night?" As soon as Wang Qingkai finished speaking, a gust of wind radiated out from the center of Chu Yukin's body, lifting the hem of her dress. Seeing this, Wang Qingkai's smile disappeared in an instant. Half-step Grandmaster, even at the level of projecting inner strength outward. North Prince Mansion truly wasn't as simple as she had thought. Afterward, Wang Qingkai turned her head and left. "Madam Chu, your servant will return home for today. Please rest assured, your servant is merely the prince's female slave, and poses no threat to your place in the prince's heart." Chapter 29, Chapter 29, Chapter 29, Let Go of My Aunt_I. Chapter 29, Chapter 29, Let Go of My Aunt_I. Watching Wang Qingkai's retreating figure, Chu Yukin fell into deep thought. A 9th grade martial artist? And she claimed to be Chener's female slave? If Liu Chen were now the crown prince of the Great Xia dynasty, possessing a 9th grade female slave wouldn't surprise Chu Yukin in the slightest, given that the crown prince held real power. However, in the eyes of others, Liu Chen was nothing but an idle, depraved wastrel. And yet Wang Qingkai willingly became his female slave? Could it be that the forces behind Wang Qingkai had already discovered Chener's disguise? Or is it possible that the forces supporting Chener were the same as those behind Wang Qingkai? At that moment, Chu Yukin approached the door of Liu Chen's room, feeling the need to give him a warning. Just then, Liu Chen came out from his room. Upon seeing Chu Yukin's serious expression, he curiously asked, "Madam Chu, do you need something from me?" Chu Yukin inquired, "Chener, does Wang Qingkai come from the force that's supporting you from behind?" Hearing this question, Liu Chen was completely puzzled. What force supporting him? Could it be that Madam Chu believed there was indeed a force supporting him from behind? Liu Chen thought for a moment about his recent abnormal behavior, coupled with the fact that he had produced modern firearms like the Desert Eagle and Batrile, which surely made Chu Yukin suspect that there was a powerful force supporting him. Considering this, Liu Chen said with a smile, "Madam Chu, how could you possibly know that?" He definitely couldn't reveal the truth about the system, but in order to reassure Chu Yukin, Liu Chen decided to fabricate a lie. Chu Yukin sighed and then said, Chen'er, that woman is no ordinary person, she's a 9th grade martial artist. Your aunt actually doesn't want to interfere too much with your affairs, but when it comes to your personal safety, one still want to remind you that force supporting you must have significant designs, and although I don't yet know their purpose, you shouldn't always let them lead you by the nose. If you desire that position in the capital city, just tell your aunt, and one will inform your grandfather. At that time, both your grandfather and the Chu family will surely stand by your side, and you won't need to rely on those powers of unknown provenance. The Chu family had not originally planned to give up on Liu Chen, but he was such an embarrassment that they couldn't prop him up. Moreover, he had now been sent to the desolate North City, forcing the Chu family to consider other candidates. After all, Liu Chen is the grandson of the Chu family master. Among all the princes, his blood relation is the closest. If Liu Chen could brace himself up and boldly declare his intention to join the struggle for inheritance, not just the Chu family but also most of the aristocratic families in the south would support him. Chu Yukin believed that Liu Chen had no need to depend on those untraceable forces. Hearing Chu Yukin's words, Liu Chen gave a faint smile, then walked over to her side and naturally took hold of Chu Yukin's jade hand. Feeling Liu Chen's hold on her hand, Chu Yukin's delicate body involuntarily trembled, but she did not pull away, for they had often held hands to discuss matters in the past. Liu Chen then said, Madam Chu, I know what you're worried about, but I assure you, the force behind me follows my commands to the letter. There are some secrets I can't tell you outright, as once I do, it could throw not just Great Xia, but the whole world into turmoil. However, I can give you a hint. Chu Yukin felt a tremor in her heart. What secret could be so terrifying as to cause such chaos? At that moment, Liu Chen lifted Chu Yukin's jade hand and wrote 2 characters in her palm, Immortal. Sensing the characters Liu Chen inscribed, Chu Yukin was shocked, and even her refined and graceful face showed a hint of panic. It is well known that this world is a martial arts world, one without immortals. XXX. Even if someone reached the legendary heavenly human realm, it was just a few hundred years added to their lifespan. After all, they would still die. Countless people tried various methods to become immortals, and numerous emperors throughout various dynasties sought the traces of immortals in hopes of achieving immortality, only to lead their dynasties to collapse and be replaced, but immortals in this world have remained nothing more than an unattainable legend to this day. And now, Liu Chen had actually told Chu Yukin that the secret he carried was related to immortals. How could this not shock Chu Yukin greatly? If Liu Chen's secret truly had something to do with immortals, then it could indeed lead to great chaos in the world, not just chaos, but it could even cause the downfall of countless nations and dynasties. In a panic, Chu Yukin said, Chen'er, you don't have to say any more, from today onwards, don't reveal anything about those 2 characters to anyone, including me. Liu Chen asked, Madam Chu, do you believe me that quickly? Chu Yukin replied, I have no choice but to believe. Your mysterious weapon and the inner strength that suddenly emerged from you have already proven that your words are related to those 2 characters. At this point, Chu Yukin still asked with some concern, does that Wang Qingkai and the power behind her have anything to do with those 2 characters you mentioned? Liu Chen shook his head and said, not exactly, I just have a way to control them, to ensure they can't betray me. If they betray me, they will die as well. So far, only I know this secret, because 1 am the only inheritor. Hearing this, Chu Yukin felt a surge of emotion, and tears unconsciously fell from her eyes. Seeing this, Liu Chen froze. Madam Chu, why are you crying? Chu Yukin quickly wiped her tears with her sleeve and said while wiping her eyes, if your mother were to know that you have such an opportunity, she would be very happy under the netherworld. Chu Yukin had thought that Liu Chen would just drift through this life, but unexpectedly, the day had come when he might obtain the chance to become an immortal, something so many yearn for in their dreams, and it had fallen upon Liu Chen. As Chu Yukin, who had watched Liu Chen growing up since he was little, felt genuinely happy for him from the bottom of her heart. With the opportunity to become an immortal, not to mention immortality, at the very least Liu Chen would be capable of doing many things. For example, he could now contend for that position in the capital city. Liu Chen embraced Chu Yukin's mature and charming body and patted her back, comforting her, "Madam Chu, don't cry, we should be happy about this." At this moment, the scent from Chu Yukin's body wafted into Liu Chen's nose, and with the soft body in his arms, he suddenly felt a restlessness. Liu Chen was somewhat speechless. The dragon and tiger pill was truly the source of all evil, leaving him with no self-control whatsoever. Just as Chu Yukin was about to say something else, having sensed something was off, her face instantly turned red, and she quickly pushed Liu Chen, saying, "Chener, let go of me, you're a married man now, it doesn't look good for us to be seen hugging each other." Liu Chen did not let go, but leaned in her ear and whispered, "Madam Chu, what does it matter, you are my closest person, let's see who dares to gossip. Besides, you've watched me grow up since I was young, and we've done far more intimate things than this, what's the big deal with just a hug?" Hearing this, Chu Yukin became even more flustered and she pushed at Liu Chen's body again. But at that moment, she realized that the skill within her had dissipated and she could not muster any strength at all. Chu Yukin hurriedly said, "Chener, stop this, you're grown up now, not a child anymore, you need to understand the need for propriety." Liu Chen said with a smile, "Madam Chu, no matter how old one am, you are my aunt, and I am your Chener." With that, Liu Chen hugged Chu Yukin tightly, pressing their bodies completely together. Feeling the warmth of Liu Chen's breath, Chu Yukin was already somewhat dizzy. Chu Yukin steeled her heart. No. This couldn't go on. Chapter 30, Chapter 30, Chapter 30, it seems that Chen Er has really grown UPI. Chapter 30, Chapter 30, it seems that Chener has really grown UPI. Chu Yukin felt that if things continued this way, there would be trouble. Thereupon, she said to Liu Chen with embarrassment and anger, "Chener, if you don't let go of your auntie, I'm going to get angry." Seeing Chu Yukin's flushed cheeks and her angry expression, Liu Chen had no choice but to let her go. Liu Chen was in no rush at the moment. Women in ancient times cared deeply about their reputation. Even though Chu Yukin's favorability was very high, she probably couldn't accept a romantic relationship with him just yet. He figured he just needed to wear her down slowly. When Liu Chen released her, Chu Yukin quickly retreated a few steps, putting some distance between them, but she didn't continue to scold him. Chu Yukin sensed her own skill and, realizing it had returned, she curiously asked, "Chener, my skill just disappeared. Does that have something to do with your opportunity?" Liu Chen replied, "Yes, it has a certain relation to the cultivation technique I'm practicing. Any woman who harbors affection for me will temporarily lose her skill and feel weak all over upon coming into contact with my body." Upon hearing this, Chu Yukin instantly understood the implication behind Liu Chen's words. She glared at him and then, with her face flushed, she spat out, "You little rascal, spouting nonsense, I am your aunt. Enough with the nonsense, I have to go on patrol." Before she finished speaking, Chu Yukin turned and left, or more accurately, she turned and fled. At this moment, Chu Yukin felt as if her heart was about to leap out, and her body had become incredibly hot. What had she just heard? That little rascal was actually targeting her. How dare he think such thoughts? She was his aunt, after all. Even though they were not related by blood and she had watched him grow up since he was a child. And she was a widow, although still a virgin, having never known a man. How could he think of her like that? However, on second thought, she herself had also begun to lose control just now. When she was in the capital city, she often checked Liu Chen's body and never experienced the feelings she had today. In just a few months' time, she actually started having those kinds of thoughts about Liu Chen. Chu Yukin felt a bit guilty in her heart. How could she harbor other thoughts about Liu Chen? Chu Yukan sighed and murmured to herself, alas, it seems that Chener has really grown up, becoming more and more manly. I will have to keep my distance from him in the future. Afterwards, Chu Yukan started to cultivate, trying to calm her agitated body. Meanwhile, Liu Chen stood there, watching Chu Yukan's voluptuous figure and charming silhouette, feeling as if his body was about to burst into flames. He then immediately went to the north courtyard. At this time, Zhou Yuyu had just gotten up, preparing to go see Mu Zixuan. Xiao Huan, I'm going to Sister Mu's place first. Come over after you're finished tidying up, she said. No sooner had Zhou Yuyu spoken than she stepped out of the door. Yet she had just left when she bumped into Liu Chen. Without a word, Liu Chen scooped Zhou Yuyu's delicate body into his arms and walked into the room. Zhou Yuyu let out a startled cry, "Ah, Prince!" Hearing Zhou Yuyu's voice, the maid Xiao Huan, who was tidying up the bed, quickly turned her head. Seeing Liu Chen holding Zhou Yuyu, Xiao Huan immediately blushed. Knowing all too well what was about to happen as a maid in the prince's mansion, Xiao Huan quickly stepped aside and left the room, closing the door behind her. Host and Zhou Yuyu fostered affection once, Qi refinement mantra experience points increased by 10, rejuvenating skill experience points increased by 20. Congratulations on successfully impregnating Zhou Yuyu, you are awarded 10,000 jin of breeding potatoes. Pregnancy rewards are incentive-based and therefore modest. A richer reward will be granted upon the successful birth of the child. Once his body had settled down, Liu Chen felt much better. Today's events made Liu Chen realize that he needed to break through to the 9th grade soon, otherwise it would be easy for problems to arise if he could not control his own body. In the mansion, in the inner courtyard, it didn't matter much what he did, since everyone there was family. But if one day he left the prince's mansion and went outside, if he still couldn't control himself upon seeing pretty women, he would lose a great deal of face. After calming down, Liu Chen looked down at the little beauty in his arms. Zhou Yuyu had her eyes slightly closed at that moment, her cheeks flushed, and her arm, tender like lotus roots, resting on his shoulder. Zhou Yuyu belonged to the type that was petite and adorable. Liu Chen felt a tinge of guilt, thinking about how he had been building a relationship with her recently, barely letting her get proper rest. Although she was his woman, Liu Chen never treated her as a mere tool for bearing children, he genuinely liked them. At that moment, Liu Chen glanced at the reward he had just received and a smile appeared on his face. Then, he gently caressed Zhou Yuyu's skin, whispering in her ear, "Yuyu, you truly are my lucky star. With 10,000 caddies of breeding potatoes, it wouldn't take many years to have the whole North City cultivating potatoes." North City, due to its cold climate, wasn't suitable for growing rice, and the yield of wheat wasn't high either. But potatoes were different, the soil in North City was just right for their cultivation. Once North City began growing potatoes, they would have an additional food source, and the people would no longer suffer from a lack of grain. In an agricultural society, what is most important? Of course, it's the grain. Having grain in hand ensures a heart free from panic. After returning to the 100 Flowers Tower, the old woman from yesterday approached Wang Qingkai again. "Saintess, how did the investigation go last night?" Wang Qingkai replied indifferently, "I haven't found any trace of the mysterious Grand Master, only Chu Yukan, a 9th grade, was in the inner yard." Hearing this, the old woman immediately said, "Saintess, since the mysterious Grand Master is no longer in the North Prince Mansion, let's make our move tonight." Wang Qingkai frowned slightly, then asked, "Madam Yu, you seem to be in a hurry." Chen Yu hurriedly spoke, "Saintess, this task was given to us by Prince Liu Shiyun. If we end up completing the task only after the people from Blood Moon Tower have arrived, your position in the eyes of Prince Liu Shiyun will plummet. It would be better to complete the task before Blood Moon Tower arrives. That way, Prince Liu Shiyun can see your worth." Wang Qingkai then said, there's no need. Since Prince Liu Shiyun has already sent people from Blood Moon Tower. It's to ensure that nothing goes wrong. If we act prematurely and spook the target, causing the assassination mission to fail, we in the Misty Pavilion cannot bear the consequences of Prince Liu Shiyun's blame. Seeing that Wang Qingkai had made up her mind, Chen Yu did not dare to argue further. A few hours later. North City, Yo North City. A group of people dressed in black and red sat in a tavern. Suddenly, a bird landed on the shoulder of a man wearing a bamboo hat. The man caught the bird and removed a slip of paper tied to its claw, then unfolded it to read. After reading the contents, the corners of the man's mouth lifted slightly. Excellent! Now that the Grand Master has left, it's time for you, worthless prince, to join my brothers below. In the evening, another shadow appeared in the inner yard of the prince's mansion. A different time, the same place, the same person. As Chu Yukin saw the shadow and was about to draw her sword, she heard the shadow speak, "Madam Chu, still up so late? You're working hard for the prince's safety. It seems you really care about the prince deeply." Hearing it was Wang Qingkai's voice, Chu Yukin scoffed, "Sneaking around, what a sight!" Even though Liu Chen had told her in the morning that Wang Qingkai was his person and that he had full control over them, Chu Yukin felt somewhat uneasy for no known reason. She had no favorability towards this Wang Qingkai. Just as Wang Qingkai was about to say something, she heard Liu Chen's voice coming from the room. "Qingkai, if you're here then come inside quickly." Hearing Liu Chen's voice, Wang Qingkai had no choice but to bypass Chu Yukin and enter Liu Chen's room. The previous night, while building a relationship with Wang Qingkai, Liu Chen realized that he wasn't gaining any experience points for his Qi refinement mantra. He asked the system only to find out that a woman could only provide him with experience once a day. He had already built a relationship with Wang Qingkai during the day, so naturally, there were no experience points at night. Having no other option, Liu Chen had asked Wang Qingkai to come every night for the next few days. He needed to advance to the 9th grade realm as soon as possible.